Welcome one, welcome all to NZ Sim Racing TV for the second round of the NZ Toyota 86 E-Cup. We had an absolutely fantastic time, first round of the finals last week at Mid-Ohio. We stay in the virtual United States, but we go from the Midwest to a little bit more of a coastal location, maybe a hurricane or two involved. We're at Homestead Miami Speedway for the second round of the finals series here, second of four. And tell you what, it's going to be a very interesting race indeed, with these drivers tackling a road course combined with an oval that not many people in iRacing are too familiar with. It does make appearances on official schedules, but yeah, this is going to be one that is sort of less used. To bring it to you all live here is myself, Reese Gardner, with Scott Rankin alongside me, the crew at NZ Sim Racing TV behind the scenes making all of this production happen here, Scott. After round one, my biggest question is, can anyone dethrone Antal Sabo?
Yeah, I think it's a valid question as well. 3 races, 3 wins. He's been on top of the world, and he got through the reverse grid race exceptionally well last time out. The good news is there is one driver that's still within 10 points of him. That will be Mitchell Sparrow. His task is to continue putting those points on the board. You and Baker, we sat down and we looked at and we said, yeah, this is probably going to be the best driver, most equipped, but he just couldn't cut his way through the field in the reverse grid race, and that was really where it was won and it was lost. But it's a different challenge tonight. You mentioned it, oval crossed with a road course. There's a lot more straight line sections here, and then it gets back to single file elements. But there are a lot more overtaking opportunities, a lot more great places to really go, I'm going to look for a swap back, I'm going to look to get the drive out. And that's really the biggest elements of Homestead Miami Speedway and the road course that's in. It is tough, it is technical, but you can really set up an overtake here.
Yeah, indeed. Plenty more slipstream opportunities than there were at Mid-Ohio last week, and we certainly had plenty of interesting battles at the tight and twisty Mid-Ohio circuit. Jack Grunwald Jr. In 11th place after some fantastic runs last round. He's been voted our Moser top performer. We're going to be having a chat to him in a few minutes' time, Scott, but there's quite a few drivers here further down who probably would have thought that round one would go a bit better for them. There was plenty of chaos further back.
Yeah, and that's actually, I was just looking at a couple names that are actually on that the points as we just sort of watch them tick on by. And the first thing that did pop to my mind was, yeah, you know what? I think the biggest thing for Antal Sabo here tonight is finish every race. If he does that and it's a podium in every single race, good luck. He's still going to walk away and probably extend his margin if that's the case. So first and foremost for Antal, it's make sure that he can finish the races. He's definitely going to be quick. He's definitely going to be there. He's definitely going to be in contention. But he's got to make sure that he finishes each and every race. The instant that there is a giant old goose egg placed on the score points board, that's where the championship will open back up again. So that's what the other drivers are looking for. And to be honest, that just encourages me to be a little bit more aggressive around Antal, because I know he's going to be a bit more circumspect.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Antal's certainly no stranger to aggression either. He took himself from 10th place back to the front of the field in race 2 last week. Of course, the top 10 get inverted for the second race of the night. And yeah, I'm certainly thinking the same. If I'm around Antal, I'm going to be pushing that a little bit extra hard, because you never know what kind of pace he's going to show up with. It seems he's making a habit of getting to the session with only a few minutes to go until qualifying, and then setting an absolutely stonking lap time and leaving everyone behind. So everyone needs to be ready for that. Drivers like Cameron Dance as well will be looking for some better runnings from the first round of these finals. Just yesterday, Scott, he was in the running for a potential Indy 500 win in the Indy cars. He certainly loves those oval races, but he's such a pacey driver. I just hope that he can get a little bit more out of the 86 here today.
look, to be perfectly honest, I'm looking at Cameron Dance and I'm thinking, gee, if there's a man that's probably unlucky in sim racing at the moment, it's probably Cam. And he's had the opportunity to win quite a number of big events, and he just finds a way for things to go against him. And I wouldn't necessarily say it's aggression either that's trending. I really do think it's bad luck. I don't necessarily think he's put himself in bad positions. I just think, that's just part and parcel of racing. Quite often, when you're on form, those little die rolls will go your way realistically, and when you're out of form and things are going against you a fair bit, it's those 50-50 shots where another driver will totally make it through unscathed and be totally fine with it. And unfortunately, that's just his life at the moment. Hayden Kirk was another one of those drivers. He went for a couple of sickening barrel rolls, but most importantly, stuck the landing. So we got bonus points from me from that one yesterday. But that's the biggest point about the sim racing community as well. Is you're not just jumping in, you're racing one car. There are drivers out there that are absolutely one car specialists, but the big thing about sim racing is accessibility. Getting in, there was actually quite a number of drivers I was talking to during a Porsche Car Club of America event overnight last night. It was all about accessibility and getting disabled drivers that can no longer actually participate in racing on the road. And we've got a few good friends of ours that certainly like that as well, Reese. But it is accessibility, being able to get out there, feel the adrenaline rush, and still be connected to that community is so important, I think, as well.
Yeah, exactly. I have a brachial plexus injury myself that restricts the use of my right arm, and I wouldn't be able to get into a real race car myself, but sim racing does give me that opportunity. Well, it is about time here for us to have a chat to Jack Gronwald, welcoming him into the comms box now. Big thanks to Moser Racing, the top performer from last week's round at Mid-Ohio, Jack Gronwald. Jack, it was an incredible round for you. You started down the back. You were initially 20th in round one. You're climbing up to a top 10 overall championship standing by the end of the night. You must be happy with how that last round went for you.
Oh yeah, the last round was pretty good. We struggled in qualifying quite a bit. I just did no practice and kind of went into it blind and didn't know what I was doing until about halfway through practice, and then slowly got better as the night went on. It was quite a tough track to get up to speed at.
Yeah, certainly was, but there's plenty of opportunities in these events to make your way up to the field. It was a difficult field, but you overtook, you made passes, and you got the vote on the NZ Sim Racing TV Facebook page. You have a choice of prize to accept here. You have a Moser HGP H-pattern shifter, the Moser HBP handbrake, or the SGP sequential shifter. And now, I guess, cue the game show clock ticking music. Which one is standing out to you the most, Jack?
The handbrake, definitely. Yeah, I've been doing quite a bit of drifting recently, so it'd be nice to finally have a handbrake to utilize.
Well, that does it. That's fantastic, Jack. Congratulations on winning the fan vote for the top performer last round, and of course, we'll be having another top performer vote after this round as well. So all of you out there, make sure to stay tuned to the NZ Sim Racing TV Facebook page for the top performer vote coming out of round 2 here. But Jack, congratulations. Enjoy your new Moser handbrake, and best of luck in this round as well. Looks like this is going to be a track where we can make some good passes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Well, we will leave Jack Gronwald to continue his preparations for this upcoming round of the championship. And we go through our final few moments here of practice, Scott. One thing that I am noticing here is the drivers are doing a lot of running in packs. The slipstream is going to be so important here. We are running the B layout of the Homestead Miami Speedway road course. No, the A layout, which which doesn't use the final 2 turns of the oval. So it's not a huge, long, flat-out run all the way to the end of the lap from the last hairpin, but they still have some great opportunities to set up passes in the draft.
Yeah, certainly. You mentioned it early on. Yeah, absolutely. There's a long, big straight. So we're actually following along with Joel Herbert here as he feeds off. This is down along the front straight. That's the inside pit straight. Alex Prague was one of the other drivers, was in the middle of that vote actually for driver of the day last week. So see if he can do any better. So big long run down to turn number one. A little bit of a dip in, but you can get underneath someone. You can get on the outside of somebody here. Technical braking zone because this corner will double back on itself just a little bit as well. So big opportunity to do some overtaking there. Little technical section in the middle. Then it's basically the rest of the lap is just long straights and a chicane. So it's all about getting good drive off of the corners, and there is going to be a lot of times where you're better off just letting somebody go on the entry because you'll switch back underneath them and pick them off down on the exit. So keep your eyes on that as the night progresses as well. I would see a lot of crisscross style moves would be my thinking.
Yeah, it's a good racing track, is Homestead Miami Speedway's road course. We're going to have a detailed look at the lap around this place, but before that, a word from our fantastic sponsors.
In the heart of the action, where adrenaline meets precision, where every second on the clock, every gear shifted and every corner carved tells a story of passion, innovation and relentless pursuit of speed. This is no ordinary sport. This is motorsport. Racing isn't just about the blur of the track or the scream of the engines. It's a ballet of brute force and beauty, where drivers and machines push the limits of physics in their dance around the asphalt. Off the track, rallying and club sport take the challenge to the wild, with nature's unpredictability adding to the thrill. Here, drivers weave through winding paths, their vehicles barely touching the ground as they leap over hills, thunder through forests, and navigate paddocks, car parks, and city streets. Of course, none of this would be possible without the teams of dedicated mechanics, engineers, and crews who breathe life into these mechanical beasts, crafting and fine-tuning until the engines purr perfection. But the pulse of the sport beats strongest behind the scenes with the unsung heroes, our volunteers, our officials, and our clubs. They are the backbone of every event, guardians of the sport's integrity and safety, ensuring the sport goes on, come rain or shine. At its core, motorsport is about family, friendship, and the community we build around our shared love for motorsport. It's where lifelong bonds are formed in the heat of competition and the cheer of the crowd. Every drop of sweat, every burst of speed, every cheer from the stands fuels this extraordinary world. Here, we don't just compete, we ignite dreams and race together towards greatness. This is no ordinary sport. This is Motorsport New Zealand. Join us and be part of the excitement, passion, and glory.
You have something in your mind, you are able to create it, build it, and then someone from the other side of the world came and tell you that they want to spread this product to 50 countries in the world, so it's a huge personal.
Big thanks to all of our amazing sponsors here for the NZ Toyota 86 E-Cup. Of course, the likes of Cream Insurance, major supporter of motorsports and sim racing in New Zealand. Next Level Racing, Mannon Racing Products, Has 3D, local sim racing specialists that creates, designs and sells various 3D printed accessories for your sim rig. Speed Nation, suppliers of Moser, Thrustmaster, Next Level, Turtle Beach Butt Kicker and much more. And of course, Race Lab and 24 Red as well. It is time for us to check out the track that we're going to be racing on tonight. You've already seen quite a bit of it here with the 86s touring around it, but now, thanks to race administrator Matthew Pluck, we have a lap in the BMW M2 safety car. Long front straight here at Homestead, flat out kink for turn 1. Left-hander into the braking zone of turn 2. First big overtaking opportunity of the lap. Then one of the only bits of elevation change on this racetrack through turns 3 and 4. A hairpin of left leading into a hairpin right that dips down and has a bit of banking on the inside. You're able to use that to launch your way out onto this back stretch where you can certainly get some good slipstream. Look for those braking markers on the left on the fence. They are your reference point for turning in for turn 5 and 6. And, or turn 6 and 7 rather. Double left flat out through the second that leads you onto yet another long straight, and possibly the place where we're going to be seeing the most passing tonight, this super tight hairpin that leads us back onto the oval. You turn almost a full 180 degrees. It's the slowest corner on the racetrack, and the exit is so important because you come back out onto the oval here. You can go down onto the apron if you so desire, but you'll want to stay high here for the entry into the final infield section. This is the A layout, so you're balancing it through the left-hander. Try not to catch too much of the grass through a left-hand kink, hard on the brakes, and then the chicane to end the lap. Keep an eye out for the tyre barrier there and smashing up onto the banking. Obviously, Matthew was taking it a bit easy there in the safety car lap, but I can tell you, those 86s are smashing straight up onto that banking, which is going to do a number on their suspension. Man, what a circuit here at Homestead Miami Speedway. Underrated, in my opinion, Scott. As I mentioned at the top of the show, it's not used all that much in official iRacing series. I've only ever really seen it run regularly in leagues. It is a fantastic circuit.
Yeah, I have seen quite a number of NASCAR races from here, and the racing that the oval actually provides tends to be quite good as well, because you've got a multi-groove track. But you're right, it's bouncing back up and out through that final chicane. It's the tyre bundles. It's got all these technical little elements. The braking zone for turn 2 is really tricky because the corner doubles back on itself, and you've got a taily car here as well. Soft suspension. You've got to try and trail brake in all the way through. This is going to be an interesting qualifying session. Last week we saw Ewan Baker punch out nice and early on his own and look to set a lap. You're going to see draft packs this week. And the other thing, I was listening to Race Control as well. I want to make a clarification coming out of the guide video that we just had right there. Below the white line. Welcome to NASCAR, ladies and gentlemen. If you've never seen a race in an oval, they have these things called white lines. If you've experienced track limits, this is NASCAR's variant of it. When we get back out, that white line right there, you are allowed 2 tyres to the left-hand side of that. Any more than that, your lap time, Race Control are going to do their very best to monitor and delete those lap times, or do what they can to ensure that if you abuse the track limits, you'll be starting from the rear end of the field. So it won't just be one lap time deleted, it'll be from the rear end of the field, I think is how they're going to manage it. Walk our way forward into the race, and you'll see them here on the exit. Watch that tyre bundle. Smash the tyre bundle.
Didn't.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of mistake, but you can see again in the front end of that shot, there's another white line that goes down the front straightaway with all the logos on it. You can actually see it in the aerial shot there as well. Again, must stay 2 tyres above that. If you move below that, any more than 2 tyres off the racing surface, you will be deemed out of track. You will be advancing your position from outside the track limits. Any contact made will be at your fault because it's an unsafe re-entry as well. So a couple of very key bits and pieces to keep in the back of your mind.
Yeah, very good point, and I think that'll bring us to the round format for tonight as well. It's basically the same as round 1, but for those of you who weren't here last time, it is going to be a 3-race format here. And it follows the same basic format as the real-life NZ Toyota 86 Championship. 13 laps for race 1, 16 laps for race 2, with an inversion of the top 10 finishing positions of race 1. And then race 3 is the sprint. Only 10 laps on the cards for it. So that format has produced quite a bit of drama in the previous round of the championship, but I'm looking forward to more of the same here today at a track where they might have a bit more space to slipstream and make those passes. But we'll have to stay that for another 15 minutes because, Scott, it is time for qualifying. This is when the drivers really get to pull everything out of the sack, so to speak, and find their way around, set their times for the grid. Antal Sabo, the pace setter in qualifying last time, and we'll see if he can do more of the same here as they make their way out of pit lane. Bryce Harding in the number 79 leading the charge.
Guess where Ewan Baker is once again, exactly the same spot he was last week. First car out there on track, setting a lap. Bryce Harding second in the queue, so he's right up there. Again, the thing is, time is at a premium. But at the same time, you want a little bit of drafting support. Ewan's going to be offering no drafting support to anyone. Bryce is in the same boat, barring a little bit of a mistake. It's the midfield where things start to get gummed up quite a bit. We've got a big old group of cars together. They're going to be working on and building tyre temperatures. Their first flying lap. They won't have quite enough temperature in the rears. The rears will still be a little bit taily. But lap number 2 is going to be where it's all about. Set yourself up for that planning nearly about 4 or 5 minutes in advance here for these qualifying laps, basically.
Well, Ewan Baker has had a bit of a change of livery for this round as well. He has got almost a full black livery there on the Kiwi Sim Racing Speed Nation number 34. You can see he is following that rule of not dipping too much of your car below the white line. But it's all going to be about the exit from this chicane here to set up the start of the lap, Scott. Ewan, of course, is racing in VR, so I think he'll have a bit of a better sense of where this tyre bundle at the final corner is. He is just kissing that curb, and look at the force going through the car as he comes back onto the banking. Looking nice and stable, though, as he begins his first hot lap.
Yep, so it'll be back to the left down here, a little bit of a tip in, a light lift off, to allow the car to balance as it transitions back down off the oval. Balance little braking zone as well. So nice and accurate on lap number 1. Again, the tyres are just not quite going to be up to temperature for this lap to be important. So this becomes a banker. Set yourself up now.
Yeah, flat out through the left and stick to the left-hand side of the circuit. Geometrically, that's the shortest way to the next corner. Now, where does he brake here? 150, 100? Yeah, roundabout just past the 100 marker. And that right-hander there is a bit faster than it looks. You can carry quite a bit of speed through it, and it's so important that you get the exit right, because as I mentioned in the lap showcase, you've got this entire straight here to bleed time if you mess up that exit. Braking point, bit hard to define for that hairpin, but it looks like Ewan's reference point is a little bit before the entry curb, and then out onto the back stretch once again. This is going to be an interesting final sector for sure. Hopefully he manages to get through it.
Yep, it's a good drive. You mentioned it. Nice and clean. Go on the power. Balance the car. No sliding. Haven't seen the traction control kick in. No lock-up lights as well really appearing. And he's maintaining the car's rev range. A little bit slow, a little bit imbalance in the front. Didn't want to transition the weight. Look at the car bounce up and over that banking transition. Clean lap. This looks like it's going to be pretty accurate. I'm not seeing much there that I'd shake my head over, so I'm quite happy with that.
That's a 136.2 for Ewan Baker. That is the pace being set at the front of this field. Bryce Harding getting a 137.5 in. Scotty McQueen immediately putting himself between the two of them. McQueen was one of the front runners last round. Race 3 did not work out for him though, so he missed out on some big points. Let's see what the privateer in the number 63 will be able to do from here. Jack Grunwald, our top performer from last round, slotting himself into the provisional top 5. Not a bad run there.
Slots himself in, and then no sooner have you mentioned it, immediately gets bumped out, and it's going to be, I believe it was Sparrow that just dropped him ahead of him. Now it's going to be Justin Davies who's managed to find some time to slot himself in. Antal Sabo now looking to start his first lap. might have had his first lap time deleted for track limits, and indeed he did. So this is his second flying lap. He's looking for a little bit of tow. Next driver on the way will be Darren Lobb as well.
Yes, indeed. Look at all of the times that have flown in so far. Fraser Clegg, Nathan Allen, Leo Duncan, James Watson putting in times there. We've got a large amount of cars in the server here. It looks like we have about 30-ish, 32, 33 maybe in the session at the moment. For now, we'll see what Sabo will be able to do. He's picking up some slipstream there off the car up ahead. So see what he can do from here. Look at how much he is working the steering on the way in. You know, the 86, as we mentioned, such a light rear end on this car, and you've got to make those sort of micro adjustments to the steering on the way in. It's very hard to be smooth in this car, but if you can get that down, then the time will come to you.
Yeah, and it's micro adjustments because the suspension's constantly undulating and bouncing a little bit. You're just trying to keep it nice and accurate. Darren Lobb's going to jump out of the way. Don't think he's actually impeded that lap. He's given him a huge amount of tow, so I think he has given him enough support and not really cost down Tal Sabo anything. He's going to come out of that final corner. Good run, reasonable run, respect shown to it. 35.994, first driver in the qualifying session to jump down that far. So that's a great lap straight to the top of the charts.
Yeah, that's what we were expecting from Tal Sabo, the winner of round one here. Mitchell Sparrow, though, having an excellent time at the moment, putting himself on the provisional front row here for race one. It looks like he's battling with, I think that might be Anna Klemic, that he's finding his way past the 377. Unless at 371, sorry, I think that might be, no, I'm misreading my numbers there. Forget what I'm saying. What matters is Mitchell Sparrow has got a great time on the board here. He only needs to gain a tenth or two more, and he'll be challenging for pole.
Yeah, that's really, really important. I think it was Arthur Bruhan that's just in behind him in the 222 machine. So, setting himself up. It's the 71 machine Mitchell Sparrow that we're currently looking at. So, you're right though, Reese. Good little run. The difficulty for him at the moment for Sparrow, no drafting partner, whereas he had the drafting support last lap. So he'll lose a little bit of time. And just take a quick look, take a little bit of stock of what we're seeing here. It's going to be probably a lot more aggressive when we get into the race in terms of what you can and can't do. But I also wonder as well, who's done some standing start practice? Who's done their homework? Because for me, that is homework.
Certainly is. You know, the 86 has traction control and anti-lock brakes by default, being a lower level sort of beginner's race car, as it were. So you have that active on the start of races, and we saw quite a few sluggish starts at Mid-Ohio from drivers who maybe weren't quite used to that. We're seeing some jumps up through the timesheets. Nathan Allen to P14, Justin Davies up to P6, James Corbin putting himself up to P8 with that lap time. Josh Lane making improvement from 7th to 3rd, and AJ Giddy in the number 10 has put himself into 8th spot. Some good times being set here as things stand, but Sabo is still on top. That 35.9 is standing pretty well.
Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on Ewan Baker as well, because I think he might have just improved to 4th spot at the moment. So again, just keeping half an eye out. The difficulty again, remember we talked about at the top of qualifying, didn't get a drafting buddy, but he was just more important for him was just getting out there and setting a representative lap time. Tow around this track, would it be worthwhile him getting a little bit of a tow if he could try and take it to the top? It would be enough of a benefit to improve that lap time. I think he'd get about 2/3 of the way there and then stall out. He'd need a lot more, because that's how close he'd actually be able to get to Tal Sabo as well. But halfway through the session already, running out of time.
Indeed. Justin Davies picking up the slipstream off, I believe that is Sabo just behind, and one of our wild card entries up ahead, I think it might be Darren Lobb. Of course, drivers with a white windscreen banner are your wild card entries, selected by Mark Mallard from Green Insurance to serve as a benchmark, a measure, a test for the regular competitors in this series. Arthur Brohan, another one of those guys, drivers with real-life racing credentials, and it's awesome to see them have a run in the sim here against some of NZ's best sim racers.
that's the big key, the crossover, isn't it? Getting out there, getting amongst it, mixing it up. I mean, that's kind of, you know, what we all want to do when we get into sim racing. And it's get out there and mix it up with the big names and the big stars. It might start all the way back. I don't know if you remember the V8 Supercars games, but that's where I love mixing it up, getting the elbows out, putting in the... I was not a fan of Marcus Ambrose back in those days, and Russell Ingall, so we used to elbow barge those guys off the racetrack. But you get to share it with real-world drivers, you know, in a series like this, and potentially even the opportunity to step into one of these machines. I cannot wait to see the prize winner and see them step in and just hear the results of that test, because I think that's such a big step. Well, I've seen videos of drift car drivers being able to make that crossover from the sim, and they're bigger, more loud, more horsepower engines that go in a heck of a lot more sideways as well. So it's possible, it's doable, but can somebody from our little corner of the woods, our little neck of the woods, put their name up in lights and show us what they've got?
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're not familiar, the drivers are competing for some pretty big prizes in this championship. First overall prize is a test day in a real Toyota 86 Cup car at Hampton Downs, thanks to Cream Insurance 24 Red and Race Lab. If you finish second in the championship, it is a $1,000 Next Level Racing voucher, which is redeemable at Speed Nation. And third overall prize is a $450 store voucher for Mannon Racing Products' Sim Racing store. Just a fantastic set of prizes there. And there's also the Teams Championship as well. The winning team overall, with 2 drivers per team, going to receive an LED speed flag from Has 3D for each driver. Just magnificent stuff. Look at Corey Croson there. I wonder, that doesn't look like it'll help us drag down the straights all that much.
I was just thinking that is not all that aerodynamic, but it is incredibly dapper. And well, if you can't be all that aerodynamic, you may as well at least look good whilst you're doing it, right?
Absolutely. I'm honestly surprised that fits over his headphones and it doesn't move around all that much. I've tried wearing hats. I've always had to put them under my headphones. Well, Corey Croson going to be trying to get his next lap down here. P17 for now.
Well, the next question I was going to ask is, how do you think we get that past the New Zealand Safety Board and make that into a helmet design?
That's a good question. It might... I suppose you could maybe regulate an increase in the height of the roll hoop for an open wheel car, but that's about the only way you could get one of those hats in to the real life racing world. Oh, I just saw Arthur Braun going to P2 there. That's some good times there from him, actually running a little bit faster than Antal Sabo in sectors 1 and 2. This is going to be interesting here from Arthur. Might be seeing a proper challenge to Antal, who's only a couple of cars behind him on track there.
Yeah, and Antal's getting the big benefit of such a huge drafting group, and again, Broughton's been left without any support. I also watched Ewan Baker improve his new best lap, but he bounced majorly over the banking transition as well. So the thing is, at the moment, just listening in the background, Race Control's having a quick look at Fraser Clegg and something that's actually gone on. So there was an incident in the qualifying session. The Race Control's is taking a quick look at it, just making sure that everything's okay. But unfortunately for Fraser, I do believe dramas for him, which might have forced him to have to get back into pit lane and repair the car.
Yeah, Fraser Clegg, I believe, was the pink number 37 that we saw Antal drafting off early on in the session. Well, Leo Duncan coming to the line now, P9 for the moment, and his time there is about 0.5 of a second off what he could set. And don't forget, this is a multi-race server that's been set up, so there is a hard cut to the end of qualifying. A lap around here takes 1.5 minutes. I think that's going to be Leo Duncan done for the session.
Yeah, it will be hard cut. And the other thing is, for Race Control, is that there's a hard cut at the end of a tow as well, so you cannot get back out there. I just saw a moment for Fraser Clegg as well, where he just about clattered the back end of somebody else. So I think that might have been the issue that we were looking for. So Clegg's in the pit lane at the moment. I think that's Cameron Dance parked sideways in. The good news for Cameron Downs, that makes for great promotional shot opportunities with how he's lined up in his pit stop. Not great for servicing the car there.
No. Well, Orbit Drop Bear Motorsports certainly have a lot of pace going for them. Hayden Kirk not able to improve on his lap time there. 1:39.2 versus a 36.7, which was his fastest time there. Only 18 seconds remain in the session, so drivers like Alex Sprague here will not be able to make it to the line to set their final laps. We're waiting for them to count down here, and well, this is going to be the end of it. Checkered flag will officially fly right now, and then a few more seconds before everyone's booted off the racetrack, and we can flick on over to the race session. Tell you what, pole position once again for Antal Sabo in the first race here. It's going about as perfectly as you could imagine for our championship leader.
Yeah, he's lined up on the pole position in 3 races from 3, whereby he would be eligible to do so thus far. So yeah, it's going about as perfectly as he possibly can. For Arthur Brown though, that time that he set, he lined that one up just about perfectly with all the draft and everything. But again, you got to be in the right place at the right time. Took full advantage of that one as well. So again, we've got a really, really tight field. Pole position 1:35.995 there on the timing sheets, Reese. I tell you, we go back to 25th spot, covered by a second.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy, these qualifying results here. Seeing mere hundredths of a second separating our drivers here. Anna Klemic there rounding out the top 30. Hopefully she'll be able to get a little further up as she was able to at Mid-Ohio. And that's going to be all 30 of our drivers there on the grid. We're going to speak now to the man who's going to start at the very head of them all, thanks to Cream Insurance. It's the pole position interview here with Antal Sabo. Great job, Antal, picking up the draft in just the right place, and you were able to maximize all those apexes. This is a tough circuit.
Game, this one, that's definitely going to be the story of tonight. I always feel like I've got the on-merit pace, but you never know. You've got a lot of friends within the field, so a lot of guys grouping up together and sort of helping each other out. It seems to be the name of the game tonight, so we'll do the best we can. Don't have too many friendly cars, I think, up on that list close to us, looks like, but we'll try our best to hold them off, and we'll see how we go.
Yeah, you're going to have one of your wild cards, Arthur Brown, there starting alongside you on the front row. It's going to be a very close race between you guys, but you've also got your closest competitors from round 1, Ewan Baker and Scotty McQueen, starting out of 4th and 6th. So throw Mitchell Sparrow and Josh Lane in there. It's going to be a tight one. You don't really want to be the car punching the hole in the air for everybody else, but it looks like that's what you're going to have to do here.
Going to be a tough one to manage, that's for sure. Like you said, they might be what, in fourth and 6th there, but you've got every chance here as long as you keep in that tow train. You get a good start, you keep in that train, you've got a good chance here. So we're punching that hole, but we're going to try our best to keep them behind.
Yeah, absolutely, and also the idea of the final corner as well. The tire bundle on the inside there, smashing onto the banking. It's going to be tough. You're going to have to be very precise.
Yeah, it's a tough one there. You can easily damage your car. So if you take too much speed, you try to widen that line a little bit, you can get your wheel mucked up a little bit there. So we'll see. We're gonna have to focus ahead while looking behind. So that's gonna be a very tough one.
All right, well, congratulations on pole position, Antal. Best of luck for the start of the race. See if we can chat to you by the end.
Cheers, team. Thank you very much. Enjoy the show.
Antal Sabo there on pole position here at Homestead Miami Speedway, and the field is forming onto the grid now. This is going to be a massive second round of the championship. Sabo in pole position, starting alongside the wild card of Arthur Brown, with Mitchell Sparrow putting himself in 3rd place alongside Ewan Baker. Josh Lane and Scotty McQueen are your 3rd row, with Avon Dunn starting 7th alongside Alex Sprague. Leo Duncan qualifies 9th, and Justin Davies, Scott, will round out your top 10.
Yeah, from there on back, it's going to be AJ Giddy and James Corbin who are on the 6th row of the grid. 7th row of the grid, Cameron Downs and Nathan Allen. From here on back, Jack Ronwell Jr. Can he drive his way through the field again? He's out of 15th. Maybe we do a little bit more practice next time out. Darren Lobb's going to be alongside of him in 16th. Hayden Kirk and Corey Croson. Remember how interesting it was to watch Croson fighting through the field last week. On the 9th row, Tyler Williams and Joe Herbert are going to be your top 20.
Noah Kitcher starts 21st alongside Michael Board, with Aidan Lamont and James Watson on your 12th row. Bryce Harding joins Hamish Cleland 25th and 26th. Taylor Oakes, the other Orbit Drop Bear car in the serve, are going to start alongside Aidan Gregory in the number 2. And then our field rounded out by Fraser Clegg and Anna Klemick. 30 drivers taken to the start here. Looks like Mark Mallard might be taking it to the grid as well here. The man from Cream Insurance and one of the biggest supporters of this championship. See how he goes from dead last on the field. Now remember, we talked about this standing start here in qualifying, and this is going to be difficult here. There's a slight bank there on the start-finish stretch as well. The drivers starting further back will have to deal with that banking as we get ready for the start here. And we are away. Green flag is flying, and it looks like Antal Sabo has gotten the best start he possibly could. Brown left in the dust there, but he'll keep everyone else behind them as they enter into turn 1 for the first time. Brilliant start from Antal, as now everyone tries to find their way through turns 2, 3, and 4. There's lots of potential for drama here, Scott.
Yeah, Ewan Baker's trying to hang it around the outside. Eventually had to give that one up. He got his nose significantly up alongside. He was about 3/4 of the way ahead of Mitchell Sparrow. Just couldn't quite clear on that opening lap. So they'll settle in as they grid it up. Sabo, Brown, Sparrow, Josh Lane are in top 5. They've all maintained position. I think Scotty McQueen's even been able to hang on to 6th spot as well.
Avon Dunn losing a spot there to leave Leo Duncan on the way out of the turn 5 and 6 complex. And now we see how they set up the slipstream, the braking zone. Look at how deep they're going around the outside in the background there. Cameron Dance under pressure from the number 40, and will try to find his way through. 48, sorry. It's Jack Gronwald Jr. who's alongside him, but on the inside. Gronwald wanting to try his best here to move on up. He was top performer last week. We'll see if he can do more of the same here. He has to yield to Dance coming into the final sector, and it's defensive for the Orbit Drop Bear number 6.
Yeah, and there was just a little bit of a touch between Cameron Dance and Jack Gronwald Jr. out into the banking. Look at him in anger for the first time in a big old field, and the snaking games are happening up towards the pointy end. Draft is important in a little Toyota 86. And they don't want to offer as much as possible to the car behind them. Every little advantage that can be negated will. And by the way, Sabo's leapt away more than a second lead at the end of the first lap.
Yeah, you could see he was dancing on that rear end coming into turn 3. It's an incredible thing to witness, watching someone who's so in tune with their machine there. And I mean, he's gotten far enough away here from Arthur Brown that he might be safe in the slipstream. He might be able to maintain that gap. At top speed in a Toyota 86, from about a second on back, you start really getting the benefit of that slipstream. You get the exit right, and you hold on to about an 0.8 of a second gap. You can maintain it, but you're going to have to be on your A game the whole way around.
Well, good news. Arthur Brown, he's actually brought that one back in, and guess what? We've got another replay to come through for a crash over on lap number 1. It was a little bit deeper in the field as we throw to the Creme Insurance instant replay. And keep your eyes on the cars in the middle of this one. Lots of
God.
Over at turn, that's turn 3, and then it's down through the dip at 4 as well, unfortunately. And yeah, Bob's your uncle from there. And I believe, remember we were saying Fraser Clegg was a little unlucky? He got involved in that one as well.
Yeah, looks like potentially Nathan Allen, Aidan Gregory, Michael Board, all involved in that incident. And Well, it's something that tends to happen at Homestead. Look at the slipstream being broken there by Sabo. Looks like Brown is a little more focused on Sparrow and Baker behind. And Ewan's gotten this off to a really good start here, but a move to the inside by the 71 of Sparrow, trying to get into second. Well, Brown was late on the brakes, and it looks like, if anything, Sparrow's now worried about Baker. Here comes the number 14 of Josh Lane as well to join the party.
Yeah, that is a really nice, tightly battled four-way battle pack as well. So they're all sitting in a really tight little battle pack at the moment. And then you've got this little gap back to Scotty McQueen. Alex Sprague is doing a phenomenal job. Again, remember, 8th start this week, up to 7th at the moment. He's gained 1 spot. Driver that's doing a phenomenal job at the moment inside the top 10. James Corbin started 12th. He's up to 8th at the moment. And that's a phenomenal little drive for James Corbin. He was aggressive last week as well, so be interested to see if he can continue that progress again.
Looks like Jack Gronwald Jr. has succeeded in getting past Cameron Dance, and Cameron's dealing with some potential trouble here into the hairpin. Not the best of runs out of turns 5 and 6, and AJ Giddy has found his way to the front of this pack here for the last position in the top 10. This is the battle for race 2 pole. This is quite significant here. Dance is going to move all the way to the right-hand side here, widen the entry, might try to cut under Gronwald, and Giddy as well, almost sending it 3 wide. Giddy's going to continue defending this one. Gronwald a bit wide over the curb. They're going to be side by side through the final corner. Something's got to give here, and it looks like Giddy lets him go.
And crossing back over to the inside, we're talking about swap over moves. So Gromwald Jr. is cutting his way to the head of this pack inside the 10. Cam Dance went for the crossover move. Justin Davies is going to try and roam up and around the outside as they go 2 wide down through turn 1. The kink, it's flat at 1. Now the braking zone as they get down into turn 2 as well. Giddy's going to hang on to it to virtue of that inside line. So he's doing a great shot, but again, the power performer from last week, Jake Gromwald, well, he's cutting his way through the field again, Reese. Can someone stop this guy?
Yeah, if only he could qualify a little bit further up, he'd be absolutely on it with the leaders, but it's still entertaining to see him fight his way through the midfield. Speaking of the leaders, we'll check him back in with the battle for second here. Ewan Baker still holding on behind Mitchell Sparrow and Arthur Brown. Sabo's gap has increased to over a second now, and I think that's the critical number that he was thinking about. Now it's going to be very difficult for them to pick up the slipstream.
Just taking a little bit more of a look into the research and a little bit behind Jack Gromwald Jr. as well. Races as a privateer currently doesn't have all that much support in sim racing at this point in time, but a Rookie of the Year in Formula 4. Oh, by the way, he likes playing golf. Only when he's not slicing it off into the trees.
Nice. Nicely done. Alex Sprague as well here, battling a bit further down. This is the battle for 7th place. Got James Corbin up ahead of him. Leo Duncan on the hard charge here in P9. Leo hasn't moved forward too far, but there could be a lot of potential for him there as the battle pack for second place continues to move on through here down the front straight. Well, looks like some bad news for our man from Cream Insurance, Mark Mallard. Thanks to his company's instant replay, we will be able to see what happened to him. Something went very wrong for Mark here at the final corner. He caught the tyre bundle. Oh dear, went bouncing up onto the banking. Big slide, but looks like he escaped too much damage there.
Well, I'm just looking at that front left tyre. I actually think he might have destroyed the suspension at that corner of the car. The battle, by the way, for 10th spot further back. Remember where we said Gromwald Jr. got to the head end of that little battle pack? It is kicking off. Gromwald Jr. is going to run a little bit wide when they get down to turn number 6 right here. And Cameron Dance, this presents him with another opportunity. Dance was looking for another over-under at the final chicane. These guys are throwing everything at each other, hammer and tong at the moment. AJ Giddy and Noah Kitcher are going at each other. Kitcher last week, he actually was in trouble a little bit with the stewards. He picked himself up a warning and a 5-point penalty. So I think he's just being a little bit more conservative. But the big thing is, if you notice that car, there's a big old L plate on the rear. So at least he's trying to let everyone know.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a lot of very young drivers in this championship, Giddy, of course, being one of them. Giddy's only 14 years old, but he has gotten podiums in the GR86 series in real life and was voted most improved driver in the 24-25 championship. Gronwald versus Dance, though. This is going off through the final corners, and Gronwald will get that outside exit. Is it going to be enough to claim this position? Not quite. Dance tighter on the exit and able to hold on here, but Gronwald gets into the wall down the front straight.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to open up and maybe lost a little bit of where he was as well. Kitcher in the background of this next little group actually had a moment coming into the final chicane. So as he transitioned off the banking on the back straight, where he broke, the rear end got away from him a touch. They managed to get away with the barest of contact between himself, Hayden Kirk, and Darren Lobb in that little group. And I tell you what, if there's somebody that you want to be in and around, Darren Lobb's seen it all, done it all. South African expat, has raced a lot of high-level sports cars over in South Africa as well. If you're going to be in and around somebody and you want to learn, Darren Lobb's probably the guy.
Yeah, such a deep breadth of talent in this series. And, you know, from what I've seen, aside from the unfortunate coming together on lap 1 further back in the field, the racing has been very clean so far. There's been big moves for sure, but everyone's managed to get out of it at just the right time here. Kitcher trying to get himself into 13th place here, and Hayden Kirk having to go a bit wide there on the exit, but Kitcher is not able to get the exit that he needs to really challenge. Now the second of our Kiwi Sim Racing liveried cars, Justin Davies there, going to draw alongside on the way into the final sequence of corners. Kitcher will defend the position successfully, but it's all up for grabs still. Everyone is still ridiculously close, and we're not even halfway through this race.
Yeah. Have a look at Brown again, just losing that touch of time at the moment. It's still going on, same as last week. There are little battle packs forming, and the problem is when they start to form, you start losing time. Good luck trying to hang on to it at the moment. Alex Sprague has managed to cut his way through to 6th spot, so he's still on the improve at this point in time. Leads that little battle pack. He's picked a spot away from Scotty McQueen, and McQueen will fall back to 7th spot at this point in time, but Sprague's doing a really, really good job.
Yeah, very good stuff from Alex Sprague there. James Corbin still holding on in P8 as well. Leo Duncan's been hanging at the back of this pack, and I think he's taking that sort of outside looking in, half spectate, half race opportunity. Look at the battle happening in front of you. Decide how you could potentially fit into some of those gaps, and when you start to reach those final couple of laps in the race, that's where you make your moves. McQueen, I think, losing the rear end a bit in the middle of the hairpin there. That arrested his momentum. Well, that might be just the move that Leo Duncan needs.
Yeah, James Corbin got checked up as a result of that 100% right. He just could not get the momentum and get the drive off the corner. But have a look at the camera shot. Unflappable. Not really too worried about it. A little bit of a bobble as he bounces over the curb, heads down into that final sector of the racetrack. Touch of turning in. Look at where the eyes are going. He's switched on. I just wonder, normally drivers like this, they've got a little bit of a nervous tick. He's looking like he's chewing on that tongue and biting down on the inside of his mouth. I think he's in full concentration mode. I used to hang my jaw open when I'm racing. I lose all control of my jaw when I'm in race mode. I'm just watching as well. I think Scotty McQueen had a huge moment in the last couple of laps as well. So we might actually get an opportunity to.
Oh, he's getting up the inside.
Yeah, he's had a crack.
Oh dear. Yeah, he's had a crack, and off the track went Alex Sprague there. McQueen's going to keep the inside through turn 3, but Sprague's going to fight him back here at 4. What a fantastic fight back it was there from Alex Sprague. Scotty McQueen showing now he is not afraid to get those elbows out.
Yeah, certainly, and that nearly presented an opportunity for James Corbin. But the thing for James Corbin at the moment, there's a lot of damage to the front grille, so he's going to have to get everything done in a braking zone as he gets to the inside of McQueen. They'll run it through the kink at turn 7. This is flat out. Some cars, a V8 supercar, for example, big old lift when you get around here. These things don't quite have the grunt needed or the speed needed to lift off, but there's a lot of damage to the front end of the Corbin machine. That will be hampering his straight line speed. It's going to be braking zones for Corbin.
Yeah, it's the only way you can really get it done around here. Keep up that momentum through the corners, focus on the exits, get the slipstream and get the move done. I mean, it sounds simple when you say that, but oh no, who was that? It was Aiden Lamont, who I think might have missed his braking point and took avoiding action.
Unfortunate, but yeah, look, I mean, they're in this little battle pack as well. A little bit of checking going on and whatnot. Remember, this was the E46 Endurance Champion the last couple of years as well for Le Mans, so clearly quite good and quite consistent as well. One of the world's biggest one-make racing series, that BMW E46, quite popular the world over, so he's clearly capable, and the sim is presenting different challenges for Le Mans.
Yeah, certainly is. I believe he was one of the drivers involved in the crash on lap 1 as well. So hopefully he'll be able to get that pace back up and get back to fighting with these guys again. Bryce Harding at the moment chasing down that 21st place car. Hamish Cleland, who almost thought about having a go at James Watson into turn 2. Well, how about turn 3? Nose up the inside for the 41 Frog Leap Juice Racing machine. And Cleland is almost ahead on the way through turn 4, and well, keeping the 26 tight. Looks like that's going to be positions lost for James Watson there, but I think perfect car placement from Hamish Cleland.
Yeah, gotta just provide a rear bumper that just dissuades an aggressive move. You can do a little bit of bump drafting in these cars, but oftentimes it's actually far more effective to do some swap drafting. So they'll get their heads down at the moment, get back into things. I just heard Scotty McQueen apologising for some contact potentially back up at the pointy end of things as well. So he's actually opted to drop back in.
Certainly has. He's actually fallen behind James Corbin there. But you can tell that he is still taking the maximum out of every single braking zone here. McQueen, of course, another one of our drivers who's racing in VR tonight, so he'll have a good sense of where everything is relative to him. You do tend to have a better sense of that versus racing on a flat screen, and he's not followed Corbin and Sprague to the inside there on the run into turn 1. He's taken that nice smooth line on the way into these first couple of corners, and see the momentum that he's carrying. A smoother exit. He hasn't had to alter his line too much. He'll be right on the back of them here in the middle of the lap. So out of this corner they come. Down the straight one more time on the 10th lap of 13. Defensive from Alex Sprague. And Corbin will continue to try and find a way through. But now it looks like Leo Duncan's the one who's starting to drop off these two. Easy does it. Yeah, defensive from Alex Sprague, as it looks like there's been another change of position up the front. McQueen will get past Corbin. Now, it looks like, yeah, Braun's fallen to 5th place. Seems like Baker and Lane have gotten past him there. He's been shuffled to the back of that battle for 2nd. And now he's going to try and fight back. Look at the gap. It's really extended. Something's gone wrong with that battle for 2nd place.
Yeah, unfortunately for these guys, it's the battle for, yeah, like you said, 4th and 5th. They're really starting to lose time, and they are throwing a lot of moves at each other. Previous time by was half a second they lost. That time by 2 seconds lost. So whatever it was on lap number 10. So right now they're just sort of sitting around throwing everything at each other. I think Braun thinks that he's faster than Lane. Lane's going to run out of braking marker and just carrying everything very deep through this sector. Braun's got pace. Now he's going to look for the crossover, but trades just a touch of pain. He has got momentum though as they get out of turn 4.
Yeah, certainly has. Keep an eye out for that pack chasing them behind. The more these two run side by side, the more time they're going to lose. And you don't want that in the final few laps of a race. Speaking of battling, oh, that's very wide for McQueen coming out of the hairpin. He's going to keep that momentum around the outside of the next corner and potentially set up a move here on Alex Sprague to get into the top 6. McQueen draws alongside into the braking zone, and he'll be classed ahead into the corner up to the apex. Sprague continuing to stay wide there. He'll try and fire it off the exit, but it looks like James Corbin has succeeded in getting past him too.
Starting to settle their way back in as well. And I was just watching Corbin cut his way through on the inside of that one, but you're right, Lob back here. And these guys are going back at each other. Something happened to Kitcher a couple laps ago. He's fallen out of this group now as well. And Cam Dance has elected to just be a little bit more conservative, dropping behind these guys. By the way, across the start-finish line, 2 laps left to run. So that 13 laps took a little bit longer than it did necessarily last week, but it's still firing away at quite a clip. And this is the battle back up once again. This is Ewan Baker, who's actually managed to track down and catch that of Mitchell Sparrow. Oh, and by the way, remember what happened last week? Ewan Baker set the fastest lap of the race, fastest lap of the night. He's doing it again at the moment. 35.738 currently leads the way.
Of course, the fastest overall lap of the night is going to get a prize as well. So we'll see what Ewan Baker can do to potentially get another $30 sim racing store voucher at Mannon Racing Products. Well, Baker's doing well, picking up the slipstream of Mitchell Sparrow there. Antal Sabo now over 2 seconds ahead. Looks like these two don't have much chance of catching him. They're going to get white flag this time by, and the final lap will begin. Sabo was, well, it's basically the same story as Mid-Ohio race 1, isn't it? Started up the front, didn't look back.
I'll tell you what, I'm just keeping an eye on probably the closest battle at the moment as we're watching Antal Sabo. He's going to cut his way through final chicane. He'll pick up the white flag board. 1 more lap left to run. 3.5 Ks left in his race to pick up race number 1 and make it 4 from 4. And Darren Lobb's got his nose to the inside of Jack Gronwald Jr. That battle is peeing off. Lobb's gone through, and Cameron Dance is going to pick off the pair of them. He gets to the inside, drifts a touch wide, trading paint side by side at the final chicane. Someone had to yield, and it was Cam Dance.
Wow, so this has turned into a very interesting fight here in the battle for race 2 pole. This is going to be the last opportunity any of these drivers have to dethrone Darren Lobb from that spot. Gronwald held onto it for some time, but he and Dance can't get out of each other's hair. They need to sort each other out and try and chase down Lobb.
Too late. I reckon they've cost themselves too much because they've got to gain like 0.8 of a second to get back to him. Lot of toe on this lap, but they're still not working together. They'll know. They absolutely will know, the pair of them, that it's 10th spot you got to get back to. The problem is, I don't think they care. They're having a blast.
Yeah, they're having lots of fun out there. Got to be gentle on the way into the corner here to keep the fun continuing towards the end of the lap. Dance once again wide across the grass. They're really pushing hard out of the right-hander there. Scotty McQueen has succeeded in passing Arthur Browen there for P5 now. Browen has been losing bulk time in those final runnings of the race here. Can Jack Gronwald keep that 11th place from Cameron Dance? It looks like race 2 pole is gone for them, but the checkered flag is out for Antal Sabo. He rounds the final corner, and he's going to continue his 100% win record of this season thus far. Crossing the line P1 in race 1 here at Homestead. Mitchell Sparrow beats Ewan Baker to the line, and that is your podium. Ewan Baker once again with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:35.7. Lane finishes in 4th, and it looks like James Corbin is going to succeed in keeping Alex Sprague behind him. Some changes in the battle for 11th there. It looks like Cameron Dance losing the spot there to Hayden Kirk, gonna have to settle for 13th or maybe 12th. What on earth happened there? They were all switching around towards the line, but man, what a race this has turned out to be. Battle packs all through the field.
Yeah, Cameron Dance had a little bit of a moment as he tipped it into the left-hander at the chicane. Lost a ton of momentum because the traction control kicked in, as we're going to watch. Corey Croson will be the last driver to cut his way through and cross that start-finish line. And it was actually Hayden Kirk who cut his way from 14th on the start of the last lap. He got all the way through to 12th, so he was the big winner on that final lap of the race.
Yeah, massive. Well, Corey Croson there, unfortunately unable to finish any higher than 28th. And well, your results from race 1 will certainly be setting the standard for the night's racing. Antal Sabo taking the victory there, and by virtue of the win, he will start in P10 for this second race of the night. Sparrow and Baker, your podium, with Lane and McQueen rounding out your top 5. Arthur Brown was fighting up the front, but unfortunately wasn't able to maintain that podium position. Corbin, Sprague, Duncan and Lobb round out our top 10.
Yeah, Out and over to 11th, and this is the guys that were just on the backside of that transition to the invert. Well, Jack Gronwald Jr., again, probably one of the most exciting races in race number 1, cut his way through to 11th. Kirk from Cameron Dance, Noah Kitcher recovered to 14th. Justin Davies, Joel Herbert, Avon Dunn, Hamish Cleland, Tyler Williams, and Bryce Harding round out your 20.
And 21st, Anna Klemick. What a great run up through the field from her, finishing ahead of Nathan Allen and James Watson. Another 3 seconds back to Aidan Lamont, who had a very troubled race. Fraser Clegg also involved in the crash on lap 1. 25th for him still, with Gregory, Board, Crossan, Mallard, and AJ Giddy rounding out our field. Giddy having a big problem somewhere along the way, and it looks like Mark Mallard succumbing to that damage. But Scott, it looks like before race 2, we've got a chat with Mitchell Sparrow.
Mitchell, that was probably an exciting battle. Got a reasonable getaway in race number 1, but unfortunately lap 1, Antal Sabo put a big margin on. You managed to chop a fair chunk of that margin out. So overall, I'd say probably for you, quite happy with the way that race number 1 went. A little bit to work on, a little bit that you can make up. P2 at the end of the day from 3rd spot on the grid, quite happy with that one.
Race. My jump off the line was actually pretty average. Me and Arthur had a chat before the race and talked about a game plan to get off the line, and then we both kind of butched it and went nowhere. So that definitely gave Antal a nice little margin at the start, which he controlled really well over the race. I think when I got into P2, I probably pushed a little bit harder and just overdid the tyre a touch, but we'll have a look at it and have a think. Obviously the cars are super close. You look at the field and qualifying, and everyone's on it. Everyone's been doing a lot of testing during the week, so it's hard to find a leg up and an advantage on anyone. But we'll push on and see what we can do. I think I'm off 9 for the next one, so it's just going to be all about racecraft and trying to pick my moves and my moments to move through the pack and see what I can do.
Probably one of the bigger points is you've had quite a good look now at that final chicane, particularly in race trim. I think one of the bigger points is you're going to be heading into that one blind in this. Have you got any secrets? Have you got anything that you're really focusing on to help you get through that chicane and out onto the banking?
Yeah, obviously I've got a really good team around me. There's a few of us in the championship. Fortunately, we lost a big part of our team this week with Tom Bewley, as he's over in Aussie racing in the Porsche Cup, Michelin Junior Cup Championship. So. But we still put in a good effort. We were quite smart and did some race runs together where we had to go through the last chicane blind and under each other's wings. So I'd like to say I'm experienced going into it, but I've also had some pretty big shunts there in testing this week. So we'll have a nudge and see what we can do.
Mate, and as always in sim racing, the racing might be real, but the shunts, they're a lot safer, mate. Get back there, get practiced, and we'll see what you can do from P9.
Yeah, cheers, boys. Lucky we got a reset button and we don't have to rebuild the cars. But we'll have a nudge. Good luck to all the other boys in the team, and thanks for an awesome series so far. And just a big shout out to everyone that's watching and supporting our team. Thanks very much.
Righto,
Fantastic stuff.
Go ahead, Reese.
I just want to say fantastic stuff there from Mitchell Sparrow, and it's really awesome to see the talent on display in this series and the camaraderie amongst the drivers as well. Really happy to see all of that here in the NZ Toyota 86E Cup. But it's time for us to go through the grid for race 2. Darren Lobb finished 10th in race 1. He's got pole position. Leo Duncan is going to start alongside him, and then we have Alex Sprague and James Corbin rounding out your second row. On row 3, Arthur Brown with Scotty McQueen alongside. Scotty once again looking for a mid-top 10, potentially better finish there. Josh Lane and Ewan Baker, 7th and 8th. Our top 10 will be rounded out by Mitchell Sparrow and Antal Sabo. From there on, Scott, it's where they finished in race 1.
That's it. Jack Gronwald Jr. was the one to watch because he kept all those battles exciting. Hayden Kirk, the victor on the final lap dash to the line. Cameron Dance, the loser in that final lap dash out of the chicane. Kitcher will start alongside of him. Justin Davies and Joel Herbert going to be off for row number 8. Aidan Dunn, Hamish Cleland, row number 9. Rounding out your 20, Tyler Williams from Bryce Harding.
And starting out at 21st, going to be Anna Klemick with Nathan Allen alongside James Watson and Aidan Lamont, 23rd and 24th. Fraser Clegg and Aidan Gregory, 25th and 26th. Michael Board and Corey Crossan on row 14. And then rounding out your field, we have Mark Mallard and AJ Giddy. And I think AJ in particular is going to be looking to move forward in this one.
Here we go, ladies and gents. Race number 2. And I can tell you we'll be just moments away from jumping into the gridding phase for this one. It's going to be about starts. It's going to be about runs down to turn 1. And here come the lights.
Here they come indeed. The yellow up there on the overlay shows you that we are about to get things going here. And wait for the call of the green flag. We're away here for race 2, the longest race of the night, 16 laps on the cards. And look at the moves towards the inside already. That's McQueen trying to make up positions there in the black machine, but leading the way into turn 1 is going to be Darren Lobb. See if he can maintain that one.
Yeah, great little start from Darren Lobbs, leading us away from the 19-year-old of Leo Duncan, who's using his sim racing to try and get better at karting. And have a look at the contact and paint that's being traded a little bit further back. They're all going to go scattering just a little bit in that midfield as everyone tries to find the open lane.
Yes, we'll wait and see here what kind of moves can be made. Jack Grunwald spearing across the racetrack to try and get some kind of room here. That's Entel Sabo up ahead of him, who's struggling to try and get out of that 10th place. He's basically boxed in, and that might open him up to an attack here from the man who was voted best performer last round. Darren Lobb already under attack. It's too wide for second. Very deep round the outside for Alex Sprague going for the lead. This is a fantastic battle here we're seeing at the very beginning of this race. The top 4 breaking away from the rest of the field.
Ewan Baker and Mitchell Sparrow leaning on each other a little bit. Jack Gronwald had Josh Lane trying to block him all the way to the inside of turn number 8, but a hole still eventuated. Now he's got Sabo that he's going to look back at. Sabo was thinking about it. Sparrow's managed to cover off Ewan Baker. Baker was in the grass. They all managed to hang on to it as they get down to the kink down at turn 10. But here's the chicane on lap number 1. 16 laps. Do they get through? Do they survive the chicane on lap 1? Lane's going to go side by side with Cameron Dance.
Looks like Dance once again with the title line out of the corner is going to have a slightly better run. He'll at least have the inside for... No, he won't. Oh, perspective messed with me there. Josh Lane getting the move done on him, and now Dance is having to deal with Noah Kitcher as well right with him, and Hayden Kirk as well. Kirk almost succeeded in getting past there in the KSR liveried machine, but unable to do so for the moment. Man, everyone further on back from this battle is just searching for an opportunity to let the elbows out here and stretch these cars' legs.
Well, the big thing, I'm watching Jack Gromwald and Entel Sabo, and Gromwald set Sabo up for a mistake down at turn 2. He basically said to him, if you're going to get this job done on the inside, you're going to have to go in there hot, deep, and late. He absolutely did. Gromwald set it back up, crossed him over, got the job done. The big difficulty right now, they're starting to become a little bit unglued from the pack ahead. Maybe Sabo just needs to think about it and go, I've got to be a little bit circumspect. No, he's not going to do that. Down the inside, big old send, gets it parked up. Gromwald gets the grass.
Yeah, just a little bit, and that could bring Josh Lane back into this battle as well. Up ahead of them, saw Mitchell Sparrow trying to pass Ewan Baker, and it looks like he's going to be doing the same thing on the inside here. McQueen's very wide up ahead of the both of them, and almost contact there. I think they were rubbing door panels, were Baker and Sparrow, and Ewan's going to try and keep him in it. McQueen is all over the racetrack here, and a little bit of contact through the final chicane. That is not an ideal end of the lap there for Scotty.
Yeah, well, he's managed to hang on to it. Sprague through to the race lead. Darren Lobb is going to try and go with him and have a look at the rest of them as they try to work their way out. James Corbin's got a repaired car. The front end of that GR86 looks a lot cleaner. Now he's at the pointy end. What can he do with a clean race car? Here comes Sabo. He's got his forced and elbow his way down to the inside of Ewan Baker. Try and pick that spot off.
Gronwald got forced off the track a little bit there as well, battling side by side with Hayden Kirk. And, well, he's going to get the inside for turn 4. He'll be able to stay ahead for now. Can't imagine how stressful it must be behind the wheel of one of these cars in such a competitive field with everyone so close together. Sabo, I think, got a slowdown penalty. He was very slow on the way into the braking zone there. He might have cut the inside of one of the hairpins.
Yeah, now he's going to have to be forced to get that spot back. Remember how much effort he had to go to get past Jack Gromwald Jr. for the first time? Well, he's going to have to do it all over again. He's back to the inside. Last of the late breakers when we get down to turn number 8. Cam Dance is inside the top 10 for the first time tonight. Finally starting to make a little bit of a mission as he goes forward. Out of the turn 8, it's going to be Corbin who picks up a touch of the grass. He's dropping a little bit of time at this point in time. And Sabo, I can tell you, is not happy about it. He did manage to get forced out and off the racetrack, and there was a call to race control because he doesn't think that he was put there fairly.
Yeah, okay, so race control won't be able to do much about the slowdown penalty. That's an automatic thing by the simulator. So, yeah, Sabo's argument will be some kind of penalty for the driver that he argued forced him off there. So we'll see how that one turns out in the near future. But for now, Sabo's still mired back in 10th place. He has not made the moves forward that he would have wanted at the start of this race.
The tough thing is, Reese, I guarantee there's probably about 20 replays that we could queue up at this point in time back to back to back. But if we do that, we're missing all the action that's actually going out on track. Just keeping an eye on in the background as well, something to put in the race fans' back of them on, and the drivers as well. I'm keeping an eye on a storm cell. Here comes the rain as they go 3 wide. They're raining haymakers out there on track as well.
My God, it's Josh Lane, Avon Dunn, and I believe Noah Kitcher involved in that battle. 3 wide through turn 3. I thought for sure that was going to result in disaster, but yeah, Scott, you got to keep an eye on the weather here. We are, of course, in virtual Florida, which is known for its storms.
Yeah, big storm systems can come out of basically nowhere. They'll dump a whole bunch of rain on the track. I can tell you, in Sim, our final race of the night is actually scheduled for a couple of hours later in terms of Sims. We have got a medium chance of rain, and by the look of that, I reckon we're probably going to get some heavy rain as well. It's going to be medium to heavy intensity, so it's not going to be light rain. Paint is being traded left, right, and center. Reverse grid races, what do we like about them? They create drama. What do the drivers like about them? Just about absolutely nothing. They create too much drama.
Yeah, it's the opposite of what you want if you're trying to preserve your points advantage in a series there, and that's coming together there between Brown and Sparrow. They are technically teammates, but that doesn't stop them from getting the elbows out, and it doesn't stop Scotty McQueen from getting his nose amongst it as well. McQueen going to draw alongside Brown down the start-finish straight, but the teammates are boxing McQueen in. He's not able to take full advantage. Ewan Baker tries to follow him through as well. Brown now moves to try to protect his teammate Mitchell Sparrow, and my God, Scotty McQueen has it all to play for here through the first couple of turns. He slots back onto the racing line, and Brown has to yield.
Well, the thing is, something just came through from race control. It was the incident. Remember we were talking about Antel Sabo? Scotty McQueen was the guy he made contact with. Race control said, and right in the middle of that thick of the battle, he would have been focused on what was going on. He wouldn't have been thinking about trying to listen to race control. Must redress behind Antel Sabo. I don't think he heard. I absolutely, because he would serve that straight away, get on with it.
Yeah, exactly. He was involved right in the middle of that fight there, and he's not yielding. So potentially race control might have to get back on the blower for that. As the positions change ahead of Sabo here, he'll try and make up a position on Ewan Baker, who's unfortunately fallen back quite a bit on that lap. Sabo now up into 8th, and he's going to start his charge forward. When McQueen eventually gets the message and redresses the position, that'll be another spot up for him. Let's see how he goes looking at P7 as Brown has to take to the grass, and Sabo gets the move done.
Yeah, so now it's about settling yourself back in. Find a rhythm. Sabo's got his way to P7. Now, hang on. Just coming in. Just gave a reminder. Race control just said, car 63, reminder, you must redress. And Scotty just jumped on the mic and said, Roger, heard ya. He didn't hear that first time. He absolutely didn't hear at all.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. Well, it looks like the matter has been resolved, and we can continue back to close racing here. The lead is still going off here. Darren Lobb has not been able to hold on to the lead. Sprague and Corbin finding their way past him, and Leo Duncan will be looking at a potential podium here in race 2 as well. Remember, we are only on the 6th lap of 16 scheduled for this race. There's still a lot of time for the likes of Sabo and Baker to catch up to these guys.
Yeah, and it's all that fighting. Remember, Gromwald, I think one of the things that's working against Gromwald at this point in time is he's a little bit too elbows out. He's not looking to swap his way back in. And the thing is, if you're in a heat, you're in a big battle pack and you're looking to just really have some fun, that's absolutely the way to go about it. But the problem is sometimes you've got to think big picture racing. He's great, he gets the elbows out, he's keen to go racing, but it's absolutely costing him right here, right now. Confirmation, right now, that redress is being served, and McQueen's just given a huge toe to Sabo. He was trying to serve it tactically so they didn't lose the next little battle pack ahead.
Here's Grunwald on the Zoom feed. He's going to go for the move
Baker.
on the 97. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. That's Baker spinning around out of the right-hander. What happened to him? Was it contact, maybe?
It was indeed, and it was with Scotty McQueen. So McQueen chopped the momentum, trying to let Sabo through so he could serve that redress, and Baker tried to go around the outside and take advantage, well, as a race car driver would.
Yeah, looks like Ewan Baker, an unfortunate victim of circumstance there, but I'm sure if we get a replay of that, we'll find out the full story. Well, what that has done is it's promoted Hayden Kirk into the top 10, Cameron Dance up into 9th, and a free position for just about everyone behind, down to 27th, which is where Ewan Baker has ended up after this incident here on the Cream Insurance Instant Replay. So McQueen yielded to Sabo, but Baker trying to take advantage. It just looks like a bit of contact between the two of them there, and it seems like Netcode might have exaggerated that just a little bit. I wouldn't have expected Baker to be spearing off like that.
No, it's a secondary response, wasn't it, where the car spun all the way back around as well. So unfortunately, he just got unloaded and a bit at the exact wrong time. Triggered and received by race controls of racing is that no further action on that one. So yeah.
Okay. So Ewan Baker won't be too happy with how that's worked out for him. McQueen, though, safe in 7th for now. Or is it going to be 8th as Arthur Brown dives up the inside there? Both of these drivers certainly well aware of the braking capabilities of the Toyota 86. And look at Cameron Dance here. He's looking to gain an advantage from this as well. He's got Hayden Kirk following him. Bit of slipstream, bit more last of the late breakers fighting between Brown and McQueen, and you might be able to make your way up. Sabo taking the fastest lap as James Corbin has just gone to the lead there on Alex Sprague.
Yeah, certainly has. Driving phenomenally at the moment, and he's been quick. And like I said last time out, we just didn't see the amount of pace that he was actually able to show. The big thing for Antel Sabo, look where he is. He's just reconnected himself to the back end of this lead pack. So now he's right there and he's in and amongst this fight. But I just think we didn't see all James Corbin had to show on that first race. Now he's got a clean car. Now he's able to get out there.
Yeah, and he's got clear air ahead of him as well, which is sometimes an advantage, but probably not at this circuit. Everyone else has got the slipstream behind him. There's all sorts of defensive moves happening behind, though, as Mitchell Sparrow there is still trying to keep Antal Sabo at bay. But Antal now has the slipstream off everyone in the top 6. Looks like Scotty McQueen has fallen down the order. I think McQueen might have had a problem.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like he has some sort of had a problem towards the tail end of things at the moment. Mitchell Sparrow and Antal Sabo going toe to toe, and Sabo had to back out of that one. And the other thing is, if they would have fought that one, they would have lost a little bit of a pack up ahead. It would have been very difficult for them to close back out. So again, just thinking about it, set it up, can't quite do it. Set it up, have a quack. Now I can get fully alongside, I can get down the inside, I can seal the move off. But it's a little bit of, it's blow and counter blow at the moment.
Yeah, and that's how it's going to go for the next part of this race here, as Sabo is still unable to get past anybody. The battle between Leo Duncan and Mitchell Sparrow now keeping him at bay. Duncan successfully defending the position there, and it looks like Sabo will take some kind of advantage. One more replay here to see what happened to Scotty McQueen, and I don't know if this was an internet issue or not. It was a move from behind. He got turned around, unfortunately, but it looks like Arthur Brown and Cameron Dance was able to sail through and take the position as well. McQueen stuck on the outside of the hairpin there. It doesn't look like he's going to get any further than maybe 27th in this race.
Mitchell Sparrow just lost the spot to Antal Sabo as well. And I'm seeing a slow car in and around 26. Oh, we've actually got a request to tow. We might have a safety car triggered here.
Oh.
I think it's Nathan Allen.
Okay. So something's gone wrong for Nathan Allen, and it must be very significant damage for him to be requesting a tow. So we'll We'll see how that works out here, whether or not race control will call a safety car. But for now, the fighting continues. The draft broken by James Corbin. And I tell you what, Antal Sabo moving up to 5th. The thing that I think makes the difference for Sabo versus everyone else who's battling with him here is that, you know, he's able to make those moves, and he's able to keep his finishes among races consistent as well. Even if he doesn't win this second race, Sabo's still going to have a higher points total for tonight than his main rivals at round 1, Scotty McQueen and Ewan Baker, as the safety car has been called, and that's going to be the field neutralized.
Yeah, the problem for these guys is, considering the race distance, they've just passed the pit lane entry. So we might get ourselves a really, really quick safety car. But field's be neutralized, and we'll get an opportunity to do it. And there was a big moment as they headed down to turn 6. So we're going to get an opportunity for the Creme Insurance replay to show us exactly what happened there.
Yeah, so Nathan Allen here. Oh goodness, that was a mistake from Anna Klemek, I believe, that resulted in heavy contact for him, and it looks like that has done a number on the front right. You can see that there's something not quite correct with the alignment of that car, and so he probably elected that he wouldn't be able to make it back to the pits safely, decided to pull over and call that tow.
Yeah, so that's what's going to trigger our safety car. We will have 6 laps left to run when they cross the line this time by. I reckon we might get ourselves a 1-lap safety car, go back green with 5 to go. But that was chaos, and now the field's going to get condensed once again. So, yeah, this one's just about to devolve into utter calamity. Oh, and by the way, we've got a train of 28 Toyota GR86s. They're about to fire their way through that final chicane as well at the same time.
Yeah, that's going to be fun for sure. So, yeah, as we find our way to the BMW M2 CSR at the head of the field here, yeah, I think we should talk a little about Sabo versus Baker and McQueen in terms of the points, because Baker and McQueen looked like Antal's closest challengers here, but this second race at round 2 has put both of them to the very back of the field. That's going to result in yet another big points advantage for Sabo, even if he doesn't even get onto the podium here.
Yeah, be a huge advantage. So, look, he's just got to make sure that he finishes this one. I'm sure you'll have somebody in his ear just saying, hey, main points rivals are well and truly out of it. Leo Duncan sits 4th place in the championship, and he's on the road directly ahead of Antal Sabo. And for Leo, Duncan finished 9th in the first race. So it wasn't a great points day for Duncan, but he's there and thereabouts. Alex Sprague was 8th in race number 1, sits 2nd on the row. He's the next driver in terms of points. And oh, by the way, they were actually tied 3rd through 5th, was Ewan Baker, Leo Duncan, Alex Sprague, all on 79 points. So very, very tight for that top 5.
Yeah, incredibly so. This is going to be a big points advantage for Sprague if he can keep this going. It looks like the safety car is already pulling away from the field here, and James Corbin will maintain control of the start from here. So a very short safety car period just to clear Nathan Allen off the circuit, and we'll find our way through to the restart here with looks like 5 laps remaining in the race. Corbin's going to have a ton of pressure here. We have Sabo having made his way up to 5th, but we've got Sprague also looking racy. Darren Lobb led off the start here, and Leo Duncan is looking for a potential podium here. Power down out of the final chicane, and the green flag flies again. James Corbin leading across the line. Round 2, race 2 of the NZ Toyota 86 E-Cup here on NZ Sim Racing TV. Into turn 1, the position is protected. And don't forget, if you like what you're seeing out here, the Tuesday after the race on the NZ Sim Racing TV Facebook page will hold the Top Performer Award by Moser Racing. You can vote for who you thought was the top performer of the night. Stay tuned to the NZ Sim Racing TV socials for that one, as Antal Sabo now has a go at Leo Duncan for 4th.
Yeah, and I'm going to put an early vote in for that one at the moment. I reckon James Corbin is absolutely worth a shout to be in that vote. as he currently sets. Half a second quicker he was in his first ever track day in a race car at Hampton Downs Racing Academy than a professional GT3 racing driver. Now he's got his opportunity on the sim, get his name out there. He's been involved in successful US-based F4 testing and has had a crack at potential opportunities in the US F4 Championship as well. He's currently winning the Formula Open New Zealand Championship in his first ever season of Formula Racing cars. Oh, and he can drive a simulated Toyota 86 as well. There's a young talent if ever you've seen one. I reckon worthwhile keeping an eye on.
Yeah, great talent, transitions across racing disciplines, and you know there's obviously swaps between sports car racing, touring cars, and open wheelers. You know, even to the dirt scene as well. And then you've got the difference between real life and sim racing as well. They do work basically the same, but it does take some kind of different talent to make it work here in the sim. Tell you what, Sabo has not had a good first lap of that restart. He has fallen right off the back of our top three, and it looks like Mitchell Sparrow getting a huge help up the rear there from, I couldn't quite see who. I think it might have been Arthur Browen there, but look who's going to go through to try and take advantage of this one. Leo Duncan, he's also fallen off the back of that top group. I think he and Sabo might have had a coming together.
Yeah, I can tell you that it was absolutely Arthur Browen that did get in contact with him, but I think it was an attempt at being supportive. Now it's going to be Cam Downs who tries to offer some support to Leo Duncan. They're going to lean on each other when they get down to turn number 6. Oh. And Sparrow just barely managed to pull the car up, but have a look at them all over each other, looking 3 wide at the moment as Cam Downs has got Jack Gromwald Jr. to his left-hand side. He had a little bit of Arthur Browen to his right, and a touch on the straight, Reese.
Oh, that's so close. How late do you dare brake? Stuck on the inside there is Grunwald. Dan's going to use all the curb to try and keep that momentum up. This is a great fight back from Jack here. He unfortunately missed out on that top 10 finish in race 1, but he's fought his way forward again. Needs to be able to keep this position here over Dance and maybe pick up some slipstream off Duncan, but Dance has the racing line. That's where the rubber is. A little more contact in the braking zone of the third last corner of this road course A layout of Homestead Miami Speedway.
Like I said earlier, I think Jack Gromwald has absolutely got an education in elbows out racing. Unfortunately, I think it's the only real skill he's got at the moment because he's not getting an opportunity to really settle in. Sometimes you want to line up and see if you can support someone. And I reckon Cam Dance is just starting to get enough of him as well because he's been in and around Cam the entire night long. So, I tell you what, if those two see each other after the race, I don't reckon there'd be fisticuffs exchanged, but there'd probably be do you want to settle down a little bit, get back in line? You know, maybe a little bit of an exchanging on thought processes, on racing mindsets, because, oh boy, I tell you what, I want to be a GoPro sitting inside the Gromwald machine, because I tell you, you wouldn't need to look anywhere else, that's where all the action's been.
Oh, look at Sabo. He's made some moves now. He's up to second, and Darren Lobb fighting with Alex Sprague now for the last position on the podium. Sabo on the headlight flash. He's let James Corbin know he's coming. There's going to be 2 laps to go when they get across the line next, and it looks like Sabo's just gearing up a potential move here.
Oh, look how chilled out he is. Yep, I've got this one in hand. There's just a quiet little smirk, fair bit of confidence at the moment. Coleman's going to block him all the way to the white line. That's intentional. He's saying, if you're going to cover me, you've got to get underneath me before we get to that white line because there is absolutely no room there. He's going to block him all the way again. This will really be trying to back him up into Alex Sprague so that Sprague might think about having a go. As soon as you get that guy on the defensive, that gives you an opportunity to just be a little bit more confident. Again, covers it all the way to the apron. He knows what he's doing. This is intentional. This is thought-provoking. Then again, Sprague and Lobb might just sit back and go, all right, boys, here's how about it. We're going to watch.
Yeah, they're certainly doing well watching there as Sabo had another look up the inside of James Corbin into turn 2, and he's all over, soaring at the wheel to try and recover the momentum of that number 92. Easy does it on your way through turn 4. Get on the power. You can really launch the car out of this corner, I find. It's a beautiful sequence of racetrack. Again, one of the most underrated combined oval and road courses on iRacing here, and Sabo once again is letting him know, hey, I'm gonna get ya.
He's making sure that Corbin is very much aware of who it is that's behind him. Just watching the face, this is what I reckon Oscar Piastri's face looks like underneath that racing helmet, because he's got that same sort of mindset, completely and utterly unflappable. Sabo lifted just before the braking zone there, found a hole to the outside, gonna look for the crossover. Here it comes, boys.
Oh, look at that. He was able to get a much better exit as well. It's going to still be blocked by Corbin, but crucially, Sabo found that door through on the outside, and he's going to get into the lead ever so briefly here. I'm expecting that Corbin's going to defend this like an absolute animal coming into the final couple of corners. See what momentum Sabo can carry around the outside here. Just enough space to get it done side by side through the chicane. They just avoid making it too wide into the tyre bundles, but Sabo gets back to the lead as the white flag flies in race 2.
Well, it was millimeters, and the problem is now for James Corbin is that he's lost it, and the problem is Sabo knows the game. Sabo's aware that he's now allowed to block, because block, that's what James Corbin did. Guess what? You're going to get exactly the same served up in response, but now Sprague fires it to the inside of contact.
Oh, that's big oversteer there from Alex Sprague. I think that arrested his momentum, and so Corbin holds on to second place. But Antal Sabo says, run away. I have the lead. Now it's time to put some space between me and everyone else.
Yep, he's going to have a crack. He's just going to try and cover him. He dissuades the dive to the inside. Sprague switches it back to the outside. Final lap. We're about halfway through as they run down to the turn 8 hairpin, and then it's a long run back to turn 9. No draft on offer for both of these guys because Sabo's gone by more than a second.
Yeah, that's an incredible gap that Sabo's already built here. He'd been building up to that all race. The battle continuing for second here as Corbin continues to hold off Alex Sprague. All of this is starting to benefit Darren Lobb behind. They run side by side a little more, then Lobb will catch up to them. If they come together, could be a free podium for Lobb after starting on pole for this race. Sabo entering the final sector now. Here comes Alex Sprague to the inside, very deep on the brakes. He's going to almost Verstappen it there, try and go as deep as he can into the corner. Side by side through the final chicane, contact there, but Corbin remains ahead. Sabo's going to cross the line in first, up ahead, winning 2 from 2 tonight at Homestead. Can Darren Lobb get onto the podium, passing Alex Sprague at the line? Barely anything between them. My goodness me, it came down to a couple of hundredths.
Have a look at them chalked up back here for 13th and 14th. Aiden Lamont, I think, got the job done. Just know it was Noah Kitcher who got away with 13th spot as well. Ewan Baker's going to drive his way back through to 26th spot. Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, it's just non-stop edge of your seat stuff here. But Sabo with a perfect start to the night, and there's James Corbin pulling up alongside, and I think signifying, yeah, you know, that was a good battle between the two of us there, and well done to you for taking the win in the second race, Antal Sabo. Corbin and Sprague are your podium, with Lobb and Sparrow rounding out the top 5. Been a consistent night for Mitchell Sparrow thus far. Leo Duncan finishes in 6th ahead of Jack Gronwald Jr., who gets 7th. Cameron Dance finishes in 8th ahead of Hayden Kirk and Arthur Browen.
Yeah, outside the 10, though, is where it gets really interesting. It's going to be Bryce Harding from Tyler Williams. Noah Kitcher and Aidan Lamont were in that phenomenal battle on the final lap. Hamish Clellan from Avon Dunn. These guys were all neck and neck as they came to the flag. Joel Herbert and a Klemek on 19th and 20th is going to be that of AJ Giddy, 14-year-old, and Corey Croson.
Aiden Gregory finishing in 21st place ahead of Justin Davies, who was hoping for a bit better from this one, I think. James Watson will finish ahead of Mark Mallard there. Ewan Baker and Scotty McQueen finishing 25th and 26th. They should have been much further up the field were it not for various issues that befell them over the course of this race. Well, now that race 2 is done and dusted, it's time for us to have another word here from our sponsors. And here's hoping that we can bring a fantastic race 3 to you very soon. You're watching NZ Sim Racing TV, round 2 of the NZ Toyota 86 E-Cup. We've had 2 fantastic races thus far tonight at Homestead Miami Speedway, both won by Antal Sabo. But we're going to jump in for a chat with Alex Sprague, who's managed to jump in here with us with the podium in race 2. Alex, it's been a really good run from you thus far, and you're obviously going to be hoping for more of the same from race 3 here, with the grid being set by those race 2 results.
Yeah, thank you. It was pretty hectic, busy race out there, battling pretty hard all the way. Those last few laps got pretty intense, but yeah, pretty happy to come out third.
Yeah, as you should be. You know, you've been certainly experienced in the slowest sort of race car. You drive your Honda Integra in the 2K Cup South Island. How does the Toyota 86 compare to that?
It's a bit different in ways. Obviously, the Honda's front-wheel drive, and this is rear-wheel drive, but there's a few similarities, but yeah, there's a few differences as well.
Indeed. Suppose the intensity of the racing is pretty comparable as well, especially around a track like this. You know, looking forward to race 3, it's going to be the shortest of the night, and we also have rain falling out on the circuit. Have you done any practice in the rain, and how do you think that's going to affect the racing here?
Yeah, the rain's going to shake things up a bit. I think it's going to make it a lot more tight, and decision making really important, so just have to try pick the right time to go for a move.
Yeah, I think the outside moves are certainly going to be where it's at in the wet, but yeah, good set of results from you tonight. Very consistent running in the top 10, top 5, etc. And you'll obviously be hoping for more of the same from the remaining rounds of the season as well.
Yeah, hopefully to keep consistent, try to stay up the front most races, and yeah, see where we end up.
Not afraid to get your elbows out, Alex. Thanks very much for joining us, and good luck in race 3.
Thank you.
Just one quick question before you go, Alex. Just having a quick look at the moment. You're on the wet tyres here for the little bit of a warm-up session. Are you uncertain about which way to go? I'm guessing this is going to be a bit of a bravery guess and hope that it's the right decision.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I'm going to do a couple laps now to see how the grip is, but yeah, it could be a tough decision, but we'll just have a crack.
Best of luck, mate.
Thank you.
Alex Sprague there, running in the warm-up session, coming off that podium in race 2, Scott. He is potentially on for a great haul of points from tonight.
Yeah, really big opportunity, but, you know, we've had 2 question marks over 2 races here tonight. Race 1 was actually the easiest one of the night. Qualify your way in, that's where you're going to be starting. It was all just about straightforward. Race number 2, reverse grid. Race number 3, just add water. So this one, I don't know, Reese. I've got my water wings, but summer's a little bit past. It's a little bit colder at the moment.
Yeah, indeed. It's, I mean, it's the Florida weather coming down here. You know, occasionally I'm just looking at these angles that we're getting around the circuit, and you don't see raindrops in places, but then you see a little bit somewhere in the final corner. There's going to be a small time skip forward to the race here as well, so there's every chance that some big angry rain clouds could come over this circuit. The drivers are going to have to make a decision one way or another, though. Start on dries and switch to wets halfway through if the rain comes down, or start on wets and hope for the best. Start on dries and hope for the best, stay there as well. I mean, it's all up in the air here. We're still having plenty of sunlight hit the racetrack, but all of that could change in just a few moments' time as checkered flag flies in warm-up. We get ready to go for the final race of the night here. Round 2 of the NZ Toyota 86 E-Cup here at Homestead Miami Speedway. And running our way on through, look at the change in the session, look at the wind, look at the rain. It is coming down here at the start of race 3. It's going to be a huge challenge for the drivers. With Antal Sabo and James Corbin starting on our front row, we have Alex Sprague starting out at 3rd and Darren Lobb rounding out the 2nd row. Mitchell Sparrow and Leo Duncan are 5th and 6th. And then we move on through to Jack Grunwald Jr. starting 7th alongside Cameron Dance. 2 drivers I'm expecting to really make a statement here in the top 5. Hayden Kirk and Arthur Brown will round out your top 10, and I'm looking for Brown to move forward too.
Yeah, outside of the 10 and 11 spots going to be that of Bryce Harding and Tyler Williams. 7th row of the grid is going to be Noah Kitchery's floated about there all night. Aidan Lamont will be alongside of him. Hamish Cleland and Avon Dunn out of 15th and 16th. Go back to Joel Herbert and then a Clemic on the 9th row of the grid, rounding out your top 20, Ajay Giddy and Corey Crowson.
21st place, Aidan Gregory starting alongside Justin Davies. James Watson and Mark Mallard on your 12th row of the grid. Let's see if Mark can move forward in this one too. Ewan Baker and Scotty McQueen, expecting them to be charging their way forward here with Josh Lane and Michael Board on row number 14. Last 2 cars to take to the start here, Nathan Allen and Taylor Oakes both had massive issues in race 2. Nathan Allen, his tow request was what brought out the safety car. Now, coming on through here to race 3, I'm seeing that Corbin has started on the dry tyres. Mitchell Sparrow on wets. We see that Brown is on wets too, but Lamont and Cleland on dries, Clemic on dries. It's a very interesting mix of drivers here who have decided to go one way or the other on tyres, Scott.
I'm going to go dry, and the big reason I'm going dry is it says in the session notes track is mostly dry. How long it stays, though, the rain is very, very light intensity. It didn't pick up to the intensity that we were expecting. They're going to be out of time here in a few moments to select their tyres. I think just about the entire field made a late decision. We've got a big mix of tyre strategies. You can see them all. They're all varying their strategy. Here we go.
Away we go off the grid. Our top 2 have started on the dries here. And Antal Sabo is going to lead the way into turn 1, but Corbin's keeping it up here as the rain starts coming down into the first turn here. And there's some spray being kicked up by the cars here. The track will potentially become a river if this rain intensity keeps up. We'll have to wait and see though. The first driver on wets being Alex Sprague in the number 50 here. And we'll see if he can keep up with our top 2 as they attempt to jet away. The entirety of cars from 3rd to 7th are on wets.
Big thing to think about. Wet tyres slower in a straight line. Why? They've got blocks that flick up all over the place. They suck that momentum out of the race car. It takes a lot more to get them spinning up. Slick tyres, smooth groove. There's not as much momentum that's being lost in the way the tyre deforms and moves its way around. They'll overheat. The tread blocks will start to skip around on the road. There's not enough water on the racetrack right now, and it's going to need a fair dump for that to change. So the guys that are on wets, they're in a little bit of trouble, I think, Reese.
Yep, Leo Duncan falling back a couple of places here. And yeah, there's going to be some short-term pain for drivers on the wet tyres. But if this rain continues, then we may very well see the wets come to the fore. Remember, our top 2 are on dries. McQueen and Baker, who started more towards the back, they're both on dries as well. They've both made moves up. Baker's up to 18th, McQueen's up to 22nd. And yep, this is the wet spot of the circuit here towards the start-finish line. And you see the wet tyre runners are looking very comfortable in this section.
Oh, cut around! It's Bryce Harding that's gone spinning. I think he was on dry tyres, so he was on the slick, and that was his roughest section of the racetrack. 2 guys that are in the lead, they're on the dry tyre at this point in time. Alex Sprague is hanging on to 3rd spot, and he's just going to try and survive at the moment. He's not getting pressured. So you've got 2 dry runners, 4 wet tyre runners in a row, and then the next of the dry runners. So Cameron Dance is the one we're sort of keeping an eye on, because he's going to tell us sort of what condition the track's in. I still think that dry tyre is the preferred tyre right now.
Yeah, and you know, it's only a short race, so if the track ends up getting wet, then you're not going to have much time to suffer. Hayden Kirk there in P9, he's on the dries as well. could potentially move his way forward as Lob and Gronwald are trading spots for 5th place side by side on the exit of turn 6 up ahead of Cameron Dance. Gronwald and Lob both on the wets there, and Dance sees the momentum move to the dry tyre with less rolling resistance. He's going to go up the inside and make it 3 wide into the hairpin. Cameron Dance gets 2 positions in 1 corner and moves up to 5th.
And the big thing is as well, that slick tyre's building temperature. That was the tricky part about the tyre choice. It was always going to be the first lap where it was weakest. No temperature in the tyre. The wet tyre will handle that a fair bit better than a dry tyre will. And yeah, Dance is certainly starting to make ground. This field is spreading out and around those bunches where you've got the tyre differences.
Bouncing off the curbs there as Gronwald has to yield to Lob. We're going to get a look into what happened to Bryce Harding here. The Cream Insurance Instant Replay, it looks like Aiden Lamont has also had a problem, a spin in the final sector. Probably exactly what happened here to Harding. Just on the direction change, the rear end let go on him, and then the banking stopped him from getting it recovered properly.
Unfortunate, just stuck on the transition right there between the apron and the oval. It is a very, very jagged edge there, and the car transitions quite aggressively, and we've seen it that all night. At the moment, it's not even a wet line either. It's sort of just, it's not even a hybrid line. It's still mostly a dry line. You want to be a touch further off it, but not very much at all at this point in time. Tyler Williams is cutting his way through the field. In this race, he's moved his way from 19th up to 14th at the moment, doing a great job.
And he's one of the drivers on the wets as well. You can see the rain is consistently falling, but of course I am not in the sim like you, Scott, so I'm going to leave it to you to give us those weather updates. Look at Williams though. He's having to keep a bit of a hard charging Corey Croson up behind him. Remember, Corey was all the way at the back later in races 1 and 2, but he's been fighting his way back up. That was a big move up the inside of the hairpin. Cameron Dance, for now, has managed to keep Sprague and Lob behind him, and it looks like Sprague has gotten by Lob on this lap as well.
Yeah, that he has. So it's still split in the middle. Dance is still the lead guy that's elected to stay on those dry tyres and cutting his way through the field, but he's starting to get hampered a little bit. Here comes the rest of the drivers as well. Hayden Kirk will be the next one who starts to make a little bit of ground, but that rain is still falling. The problem is I don't think it's building up is the problem. Remember how I said before, the track actually said it was mostly dry? Update has come through in the sim. Track is now very lightly wet. This is where it'll start to stabilize, and this is where it'll start to trend off towards those wet tyres.
Yeah, but, you know, we're almost halfway through, and I think the advantage is enough for Sabo and Corbin up at the front of the field that they're able to maintain that lead. They're up to 5.5 seconds over the rest of the field now, which is frankly insane. Leo Duncan in 11th place. Ewan Baker was all over the back of him at the previous corner. We'll see what Duncan will be able to do to find his way past Arthur Browen here. All over the curb, all over the grass, and spray getting kicked up, but not quite to the point where it would be a problem for the drivers. You can see that the spray starts to vanish there halfway down the straight. That's one of the drier parts of the racetrack down there.
Yeah, and then the problem is they get 3 wide down into turn number 8. That is bravery out and around the outside as well. And that's Ewan Baker trying to drive his way back through the field. He's on dry tyres and he's trying to make moves, but he's leaning on Leo Duncan as they go down the straight. Duncan now moves across. He's getting pinched between Scotty McQueen. You can't go through this next corner 3 wide. You can't do it. They're getting brave as the spray kicks up. And here's the damp patch.
The pincer move by McQueen and Baker, well, both of them falling back in race 2, both fighting their way up to potentially getting into the top 10 in a couple of laps. This is an insane run from the 2 of them all the way down there. Baker got squeezed about as much as you want to there. He almost gets down below the white line, but I think he was just legal there.
Yeah, it was 2 tyres above the white line. That's okay. That's as far as you can go down. You've got to keep 2 tyres in play, and that was the critical thing. So Baker's cut his way through the field in this one. He's plus 15 spots. Scotty McQueen's plus 14 spots as well. So they're going with each other.
Yeah, this is a great run from Baker and McQueen. Perhaps the perfect recovery from their trials in race 2. We move a bit further up to Mitchell Sparrow, who's trying to keep Cameron Dance behind him. This is a battle of dry tyres versus wet tyres here, and it looks like Dance is maintaining enough temperature in those dries to really become a problem for Sparrow. And he's going to be ahead into the braking zone. Sparrow's going to yield as behind them. That's a big dive to the inside from Jack Gronwald. Gets past Alex Sprague in the hairpin, but his momentum is arrested a little bit on the way out of the corner.
Yeah, and again, these three are all on wet tyres together. The problem is the next driver in behind them is Hayden Kirk and Hamish Cleland. They're both on the dries. They're going to have a little bit better straight line speed at the moment. Look at the spray kick up as they try and tip the car in, but they're maintaining reasonable grip. I'm not hearing any aquaplaning or any slipping and sliding about on that rubbered line. And again, they're not moving off those curbs. They're all just smashing over the curbs. So at the moment, it seems okay.
Yeah, the curbs are what you really have to look out for in wet conditions. Any painted surface on the racetrack becomes super slippery in wet conditions. There's no way to get any purchase on it like there is with hot, dry tyres in dry conditions. Well, as you say, doesn't seem to be a problem for the drivers thus far. Gronwald now has Lob for company, and Darren, with plenty of real-life racing experience, as you've expounded, Scott, going to try around the outside of turn 4 and get it done. That was beautiful.
Brave as well, committed, but he knew exactly what he needed to do. And again, when you have a wet race, you come back to your experienced personalities. Those are the guys that you want to see. Sabo with his real wood experience, James Corbin, real wood experience. That's the kind of guys that you really want in your back pocket driving your race car when all of a sudden the heavens open.
It looks like the heavens might have opened a little too late for anyone to challenge Antal Sabo and James Corbin up at the front of the field. Corbin maintaining a 2-second gap to Sabo, but they have 8 seconds to Cameron Dance in third. Looks like it's going to be a race for that podium here as Hayden Kirk and Alex Sprague side by side. Sprague has fallen back quite a ways here in race 3. I think he might be ruining that decision to go for the wets at this point. Baker's going to try and get alongside him here. He's already in the top 10, going for 9th. This is an incredible run from the Kiwi Sim Racing number 34. We'll see if it continues at the exit of this corner. Baker firing it in and covers him off.
Yeah, the next driver, though, for him is on dry tyres. So these guys will match each other for not only straightaway speed, but the grip that they've got available to them. The spray continues to grow, but again, growing marginally. We've had a little bit of rain, but it's only going to stay at that, a little bit of rain. We've got 4 more laps left to run, and I reckon the crossover period's in about 5 or 6 laps before we actually see the wet tyres get stronger.
Yeah, and unfortunately there's just not enough laps left in the race for that. So we'll keep our eyes peeled for any further gains to be made. Hayden Kirk now shuffled back into 10th spot. Corey Crowson getting up into the top 9. What a run it's been from Crowson as well. He's absolutely on fire there. Once again, it's those dry tyre runners who seem to just be able to maintain that heat in the tyres, keep that speed down the straights with less rolling resistance, and yeah, they've got enough temperature in those tyres that they can very easily overcome that dampness. Well, bit of a defensive move there potentially from Jack Gronwald, but Ewan Baker succeeds in getting up the inside. There's contact there behind Crowson. It looks like Sprague and Kirk bumping off each other.
Yeah, and there was also contact down ahead as well. Hamish Cleland and Darren Lobb lent on each other just a little bit as well. Cleland has now got those dry tyres on. He'll clear him. He'll start to be a touch faster. But the thing is, when you're in these guys' shoes, whereby have a look at that spray. That spray's a lot more as they cut their way through. But when you're on the wet tyres, you've got to defend a lot harder, because once those guys go, they're done. You're never getting them back. You just don't have the grip. We're not there yet. So it actually promotes a more defensive style of driving. But the problem for those guys as well, you don't have the straight line speed, so they can ram up on you a lot easier as well.
Hamish Cleland here on the dries. We follow on board with the Frog Leap Juiced Racing number 41, and you see how much the spray is there into the first turn. That section of the track is very wet, but it just seems like they're still able to maintain the pace here. Maybe a bit of understeer there for Cleland through turn 3. They're trying to stay a little bit wide of the apexes of some of these corners, because remember, as the track gets wetter, it's actually off the racing line where there's more grip because of the rougher surface. It doesn't have that rubber on it that gets slick under wet conditions.
The other problem I'm just sort of starting to think about is I reckon the wet tyres might be overheating. So we're very close. Last time by lap times were similar to around about a second between the two different types of tyre compound at this point in time. But if the wets are already up and they're a little bit too hot, well then you're not getting extracting the best grip out of them at this point in time. So they might have just cooked off just a little bit too.
Yeah, of course, overheating, less grip, a little bit more wear on them as well. They are a softer compound, so there's going to be less tread remaining on them to flick that moisture away. Jack Grunewald, though, will continue maintaining his position in the top 10 here, but he's got Scotty McQueen with some big momentum down the back straight here, and will fire it up the inside into the kink. Grunewald trying to maintain the line here on the outside. The wet tyres will be strong there, but they come together. Spin almost there from Grunewald. He will recover it. McQueen getting the elbows out to get through into the top 10.
That's a tough one. If I'm in McQueen's shoes, I'm redressing that one immediately. I just feel like I might have contacted him. Let him have it back, then immediately dive it back down the inside. The longer you wait, the less time you've got. By the way, we've got 2 laps left in this one too.
Yeah, it's crunch time now, isn't it? Mitchell Sparrow holding on to 4th there. Ewan Baker up into the top 5. This has been a mammoth climb up the field for the number 34. You got to wonder, if things had gone a bit better for him in race 2, where would he be now?
Where would his championship hopes be? He is plus 20 spots, Reese. Plus 20, and he's not done yet. There's an opportunity here to get by. Sparrow is struggling. You can see Sparrow's really cooked those tyres off, and he's now struggling for the grip. And this is through the hottest part of the racetrack at the moment. Track temp's still 25 degrees Celsius, so that tells me that it's not cooling enough to suck the heat out of the air as well. As soon as we start to lose that track temperature, that also indicates a crossover time, because then your tyres can't keep the temperature up as well. So I think we're okay, unless you run offline.
Yeah, Baker a little wide at the hairpin. That's going to give Cleland another chance to get back into the top 5 here, and a bit of breathing room for Mitchell Sparrow, who is the lead driver on wet tyres. I'm very impressed that Sparrow's been able to hold on to that 4th place in spite of all the clear pace that the dry runners seem to have. Baker trying up the inside of Cleland here to get the position back. Room is given, and he'll have to wait a couple more corners to get it done. White flag out. Antal Sabo now has a 4.2 second lead over James Corbin, and there's nearly 13 seconds back to Cameron Dance.
Yeah, Dance has cut his way through. He'll be very, very happy with finally managing to get on the podium in this one, but the problem lies in behind. Sparrow sits 4th on the road. Cleland's got his way through. Can he do anything about it? What about the guys that are in behind them? Corey Croson's driven his way to 7th spot. He's plus 13. Darren Lobb is still inside the top 10, also on wet tyres. That's it. Those are the only 2 wet tyre runners that are left inside your top 10. Everyone else is on the dries.
And I tell you what, one driver who we should keep an eye out for is Anna Klemic in the number 15. We saw her a couple of times, but she's moved all the way up from 21st up to 11th. She's one of the drivers who started on those dry tyres, and it's worked out beautifully for her. Seas of drivers who have started on the wets have had to yield to her, and now she might be looking at a top 10 if Scotty McQueen and Hayden Kirk come together.
Yeah, they were leaning, door banging on each other as they went down there into turn 6, and Scotty just said, hey mate, I'm probably at fault there, I'll give it back to you on the straight. So line it up. They didn't want to cost each other momentum, because then they'd have no shot at Darren Lobb, but he's going to get out, he's going to roll out here and do the sporting thing, and that way race control doesn't have to get back involved, and that one's the right decision, I think. Cleland's done enough. He's got through to 5th spot, but they've both got through on Sparrow on this last lap. Ewan Baker's gone for a send of the season. Sabo's going to get it done and celebrate in style, but Ewan Baker is going to nick 4th spot with a couple corners left to go. That was a phenomenal dive. We're going to need a replay of that for sure.
Yeah, Ewan Baker getting into 4th place as Sabo celebrates another absolute domination of the NZ Toyota 86 E Cup. just magnificent drives from many of our competitors. Anna Klemek ultimately finishing in that 11th spot there. And what a drive from her as well, as things start to get a little interesting outside the top 15 there. Even Dunn, I think, with a bit of an arrested run out of the final corner there. And that's going to be the majority of our finishes off the circuit for now. We're going to get another look at that incident for Ewan Baker, or that pass for Ewan Baker, rather, on Hamish Cleland. Yeah, that was a huge dive. I'm amazed that he pulled that one up.
Not only did he pull it up, he owned it as well. And they both made their way through on Sparrow on that last lap of the race. So there's a couple of drivers I'm sitting there and I'm going, wow, what a night. I think we've got to try and make some recommendations for driver of the day, because I think Groenewald is probably the most entertaining driver from 2 out of 2 races. You've got to keep your eyes attached to him. Sparrow did a cracker to hang on to, I think he finished that race in 6th spot on wet tyres. And then James Corbin drove a phenomenal series of races as well. And they're just 3 stories, let alone the guys that came through the field in that final race of the night. I reckon there's 7 or 8 drivers there that deserve an absolute shout over the last couple of weeks. Oh, and by the way, Ewan Baker, remember we said that he had one good race tonight, but he set the fastest lap of the race in there, so he gets himself another $30 MRP. He's nowhere at the moment in terms of point standings, but he's picked himself up $60 in MRP vouchers. So can he really say he's complaining?
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to outright pace over a single lap, it's very hard for even Antal Sabo to beat Ewan Baker, but Antal will pull up to the start-finish line there to celebrate his victory there. 5 seconds the gap to James Corbin. Cameron Dance getting onto the podium there, one of the drivers to start on the dries there. Baker and Cleland will round out your top 5. Sparrow in 6th, with Crowson finishing in 7th place. Very good job from the Sigma Sim Sports number 28. Darren Lobb holding on to a top 10 position. Same for Hayden Kirk. And Scotty McQueen made a very nice recovery as well from further back in the field to finish 10th.
Yeah, outside your 10 though, it's going to go to Anna Klemek, who drove from 18th up to be just outside the 10. Unfortunately, Groenewald Jr. made a wrong call on tyres, as did Sprague, Leo, Duncan, all falling outside the 10. Those were the wet tyre runners. Josh Lane, 27th to 15th spot. Great drive from him. Kitcher, 16th. Arthur Brown, 18th. Williams, AJ Gidden, and Avon Dunn round out your 20.
In 21st place, it is going to be Justin Davies. Bryce Harding finishing 22nd. Shame for him. This night could have gone a lot better for Bryce, with Taylor Oakes and Aidan Gregory on 23rd and 24th. Board finishes ahead of Watson and Mallard. Last finisher on the lead lap is Nathan Allen. We had Nathan Lamont classed a lap down, and Joel Herbert, unfortunately, retiring from the race. Not ideal for him, but the most ideal of circumstances for Antal Sabo. He has not joined us in the interview waiting room for the time being, though, so it looks like we may have to go to him in just a few moments. First driver I think we'll have a chat to is Cameron Dance, who finished in 3rd here. What a fantastic drive there, Cam. Race 3, it was a battle of wets versus dry, and it looks like you made the right choice.
Yeah, I did wonder what was going to happen. I was looking at the radar going, maybe wets, maybe dries, but no, the rain wasn't quite heavy enough, and I was just monitoring what the likes of Anto and a couple of others were doing as well, just to see like if they were maybe going to go wets or dries, or maybe something was going to happen with the weather. And just like I was like, well, if they're going dries, well, we're all going to be in the same pie at the end of the day. So yeah, rolled the dice and managed to get the sweet pie rather than the not very good one.
Indeed, and it looks like Race Controller selected you for the moment of the round as well. From lap 12 in race 1, your pass coming off the oval into the final few corners. Thanks to Has 3D, you are going to get a 3D printed cup and headphone holder for your rig, and you must be happy with that.
Oh, how good. Sweet as. Cheers, Harry. No, yeah, that's pretty good. There was a lot of overtaking in that whole night, to be honest. Like, we knew it was going to be pretty hectic with the way that there was a roval, and there was a lot of long straights and stuff. So, yeah, no, awesome racing, like, all night long, even if it was pretty hard to begin with, it being a little bit further down than we'd have liked. But, yeah, no, to top it off with the podium was just awesome.
We're going to take a look here on the production feed at your move of the race. You switched out to that high line and then dipped beneath two other cars of Darren Lobb and Jack Gronwald to get the move done, 2 positions up. I mean, honestly, it was just an incredible move, and I mean, I'd expect nothing different from you, Cam. I've certainly known you to be one of the harder racers out there.
Yeah, I mean, like it's one of those tracks where you just like have to sort of think ahead of yourself almost because of the fact you've got so much going on, and there's obviously a lot of draft involved as well. So it was just playing your cards right and obviously looking and analysing as best you can to then set up a pass and pull it off. And yeah, that was sweet as.
Sweet as indeed. Is there anyone you want to thank for your results before we let you go, Cam?
Yes, obviously shout out to the boys at Orbit Drop Beer Motorsport for all their support as always. All the supporters on the car, the likes of Revolution Race Gear, Hybrid Tune, Fight CSE, Demon Tweak, Psy Liveries, all great supporters. So cheers to them. Obviously cheers to Matt and the team for the awesome series they've been putting on. All the boys for the awesome racing all season long so far, and obviously you boys for the awesome broadcast week in and week out.
Thanks very much for joining us. Cameron Dance, 3rd in race 3 and winner of the moment of the race. Well, as you mentioned, Scott, the fastest lap award goes for the 2nd round in a row to Ewan Baker from Kiwi Sim Racing.
Ewan, I was listening to a very, very frustrated driver, the number 34, towards the tail end of that second race. That reverse grid just not necessarily going your way all the way to the back end of it. But you got the elbows out, you pick the right tyre, and you gain 20 plus spots in 21 spots as it ended up being, to go from 25th to 4th in that final race. You at least keep us on the edge of our seats, Ewan. That's about the only thing we can say at the moment, eh?
Oh, yeah, I'm glad I can entertain, if nothing else. Yeah, just unfortunate. Got together with Scotty again in race 2. A little bit of frustration. I mean, I was trying to follow Antel through, and then Scotty jumps on the radio saying, "Oh, just go through in the straight, Antel." So it's like, "Oh, that's a bit annoying. I'm trying to hang on to this guy." So I tried sending it, and yeah, it just didn't come off. Ended up getting loose, and yeah, chucked me to the back, and then frustration boiled over. You know, that's 20 points lost in the championship, so that's always frustrating. And especially for this round, you might have noticed I'm running a tribute livery on my car because you know, I wanted to get a good result this race. Dedicate it to my friend and colleague Michael Sherry, who tragically lost his life in a workplace accident recently. So it's been a tough time, and I wanted to do something nice. At least being able to get the podium race 1 and having a good fight back in race 3, it's like I feel like I've done him proud in that regard. And yeah, frustrations aside, I'm glad I managed to put on a good show.
Mate, yeah, look, I mean, we can hear it. We can hear the entertainment, and obviously commiserations, and hopefully you and the guys around you are working together, mate. I think one of the biggest things that we can say is that it is a show. There's no moves in this series that are won easy. It is elbows out. That's just Toyota racing in a nutshell, really. In these GR86s, you've got to be on the offense, because being on the defense feels like you are just going to be passed by 4 or 5 guys instead of 1.
Yeah, exactly. It's you can't afford to settle. You have to either be sending it or you're getting overtaken. So it's finding that fine line of aggression. I mean, the likes of Antel, you know, he walks that line perfectly. So you definitely need to sort of study what he's doing, try and learn from it, because you know that's a bit I still struggle with at times. I can be aggressive, but there's those just few moments I overstep the mark, and they're the moments that send you from, you know, battling for 7th place to 27th. So yeah, at least in race 3, I was managing to walk that line a bit better, and it's weird. In some ways, I feel like I was a lot more aggressive and a lot more carefree in that race, but it worked out better. So maybe I just need to get into that mentality for the rest of the season.
Mate, 2 rounds, 2 fastest laps, so hey, at least the pace is there, even if it's just not showing up the results board. I guarantee you it is just a few moments away. Floor is all yours. Like you said, there's a tribute livery here, so I feel like the thank yous are a little bit more heartfelt this week.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, first and foremost, you know, dedicated to my colleague, Michael Sherry. You know, taken away from us far too young, and will be very sorely missed. So, yeah, it was an honor to be able to run with his name on the car and, you know, put in a good performance for him. Yeah, big thanks to the team as well, Kiwi Sim Racing, our sponsors, Speed Nation, InspireNet, Scott Technology, and Shearwater Studios. Having those guys' support is always fantastic, and obviously being okay with me running the delivery tonight was very nice. And yeah, just big thanks all around, and I was glad I was able to do something special for someone that was important to me and a lot of other people.
Mate, well, congratulations, and like I said, certainly a big heartfelt thank you to you for doing something special for somebody that was special to you and the boys around you, mate. Congratulations on the result here tonight, and yeah, enjoying the sim racing, mate. And it's good to see you out there as usual. So thank you very much, Ewan.
Thank you.
Well, Ewan Baker will certainly have a lot to celebrate here tonight, especially for his friend with that fantastic tribute livery on the car. And finally, our championship leader in the box with us, Antal Sabo. Looks like pretty much another perfect round in terms of results for you, Antal. I mean, what more could be said, really? Race 3, though, it did throw up a couple of question marks with the wet weather. You did make the right decision, though, to get on the dry tyres.
Oh, you what? That was very stressful. Very stressful making that call. I think I put the car with about 10 seconds to go on the grid, so I was trying to, you try to see what everyone else is doing, try to get a gauge. What's the weather doing? What are people doing in terms of decision? Very much thought I got that wrong with all the rain to start with. You just see rain on your windshield and you think, oh, it's gonna get worse, it's gonna get worse. But it got a little bit worse, but it didn't get worse enough for us, so we were managed to take the full advantage of the dry tire there.
Well, it's another round where you have race 1 pole and wins in all 3 races here tonight. So championship lead extended, to say the least. Your closest rivals from race 1, McQueen and Baker, they had bad race 2s. They had to work their way up in race 3. So ultimately, the points advantage going into next week at Motegi is going to be foremost on your mind here.
Yeah, a lot of outside factors that what we could control happened today, so it happened in our favor this time around. So we'll take it. We'll take any point we get. It's a very tight point system for the sort of championship they're running, and 2 more rounds to go. Things make it very tight, especially if they didn't have too much bad luck, but they did this time around, and we managed to convert. It's important to. I had to really keep my mind focused for the reverse grid, because you never know what sort of could happen. It's another reverse grid. The luck that we had first time around in the first round went a lot our way. Sorry, I can't even speak. A lot's been happening tonight. But we just had to sort of pick them out very slowly, as slowly as we could anyway, with sort of keeping in mind how close the line was coming, the checkered flag. So it just it all worked our favor. Did what we could, aggressive where we could, and it worked.
Yep, certainly did. And before we let you go, just your thoughts on next week's track. We do go to the east layout of Mobility Resort Motegi, very technical circuit. It's a bit like Homestead in that it has those very heavy braking zones into tight hairpins at a couple of places around the lap, but it's also going to be very wide and smooth, which is going to affect the racing in a few ways, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to lead on to there. Your last point there. There's still a lot of curvy corners there where you have to keep your minimum speed up. So there's a lot of disciplines in that way on the next track coming up. I haven't actually had the most amount of practice in the world, so the moment we're going to get off here, we're going to turn a few laps there to get ready. But I'm looking forward to it. It's another challenge. It's a track I haven't driven in this car or many cars at all, so it's another one, sort of the same story as Homestead for me. So just going to get cracking with next week. Things have swung in our favor, like I said, and I'm just looking forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we wish you the best of luck in your initial moments of practice there for next week's round. Antal, before we let you go, is there anyone you want to thank for your results tonight?
Cheers, team. I just want to thank MRP Sim Racing, IQ Security, RCIS Race Cars and Sheds, and Vermilion Esports, and of course all of our series sponsors. We can't do this without them: Cream Insurance, Speed Nation, Moza Racing, just so I could see there quickly, and the broadcast team for putting on a great show.
Thanks very much, Antal, for joining us, and congratulations once again on another perfect round.
Cheers, Reese. Cheers, team. Thank you very much. Good night.
Antal Sabo there, rounding things off for the night's racing. Scott, what another fantastic round of this championship. We're going to review what the point standings look like coming out of this round. Sabo, 180 points, perfect score thus far. Mitchell Sparrow starting to creep up there. It was a very successful second round for the 71.
Yeah, impressively so. And we mentioned it. He just kept chipping away points. I think results here for Sparrow tonight finished off with a second in race 1, fifth in race 2, sixth in race 3. So right in around the 5 and in all 3 of those races. And that's the big key in terms of his points haul. Sprague was there and thereabouts. We saw him, he got a nomination for Driver of the Day last week. Well, this time out, he's managed to convert that and continue ticking away at the points. But the biggest thing is that sort of big group inside the top 10. Good luck. Good luck trying to pick who's going to finish there, because I was picking James Corbett. I was so keen for him to win that final race and just take it away or do something in race 2 as well. He was there and there amongst it. So, one bad round, everything can come undone, but everyone's throwing it at each other in every single race. I cannot believe how close this series is.
Yeah, and the inverse of that is one good round can make a huge difference. Look at Klemic there in 13th. She was, in and around sort of the top 15, just outside of it, but getting that 11th place finish in race 3 really turned things around for her. We unfortunately didn't have Tom Bewley here for this round, but hopefully we'll see him for next round at Motegi, and hopefully see a couple other drivers further back in the field there here next round here. Once again, the next round of the championship going to be at Mobility Resort Motegi East. It's going to go off. It will be a massive event, as it was here at Homestead Miami. And don't forget, tomorrow the voting will open on the NZ Sim Racing TV Facebook page for your top performer. If you watched this broadcast and you saw a driver who really stood out to you, had a great night, then vote for them. And they'll have the opportunity to win their choice of a Moser handbrake or shifter. Make sure to get your votes in. Big thanks to the crew at NZ Sim Racing TV for helping to put this broadcast on. Big thanks to our sponsors as well. Cream Insurance, Next Level Racing, Mannon Racing Products, Has 3D, Speed Nation, Race Lab, and 24 Red. Big thanks to all of you as well on the broadcast who were here watching this race with us. We appreciate your viewership and hope that you're here next week. I'm Reese Gardner, Scott Rankin alongside me in the comms box here for the second round of the NZ Toyota 86 E Cup. See you next Monday.